152 for 4 and tea's flown. So we'll carry on with the game in hand. That it's Bolt bowling from this end. And he's on his way and bowling very full. And Lawrence comes forward, drives his first ball, a low full toss. In fact, a bit of a fumble at mid-off. They won't benefit from that. It's Mitchell there, couldn't quite get hold of the ball first time around. And they've taken just the 1 run. So Lawrence moves on to 12. Burns 73, 153 for 4. Phil Tufnell's plugging himself in alongside me. I just think that you wouldn't have overlapped with Dennis.
No. Yeah, a little bit before my time, but I remember watching him a lot as a boy on the sofa.
So many runs here.
Yes,
white wickets at Edgbaston. Yeah, brilliant player.
Good player, fast bowling, wasn't he?
Yes.
Yeah.
And hearing him recount those stories of playing Lillian Tomo with
no lid,
the cap on.
Blimey, that's tricky.
Yeah.
No, I wouldn't fancy
but it was
that.
true when they came in. It was this sort of feeling. Well, he doesn't fancy short pitch bowling. We'll let him have it. And they got their helmets on, and then it changed round in a couple of years. In goes Bolt again. Bowls one. The ball swing is still swinging, and Burns plays to Patel at mid wicket. He dismissed Pope earlier on. Little nick outside the off stump. They're settling down in the Hollies stand. To beer snakes are being constructed, if that's what you do with a beer snake. But over there at the back, I can see. Very noisy in there.
Yeah, someone lost his loafer. Did you see that? Someone lost his shoe. Yeah, someone threw some poor chap's shoe onto the pitch.
I didn't see that.
Yeah.
In goes Bolt. Bowls, and that's steered by Burns. Down to third man, down towards the scoreboard. Chase for 2 New Zealand fielders. They've taken 2. That's all they're going to have. It's a sort of relay situation there with Latham throwing the ball in.
Got some runs down there, isn't it?
Keeper, yeah. 155 for 4. Intriguing session coming up. Here's 34 overs left. So it'll be a full add-on to 6:30, I'd imagine. It usually is, to get all these overs in. Unless the spinner bowls.
Well, there's a nice big rough, I tell you. I'd be taking Trent Bolt around with me if it's after I was a left-arm spinner.
Yes.
There's a lovely little patch just starting to develop. Only about 6 inches, 7 inches outside off stump, which he's got a few to bite and spin and turn and bounce from. Yeah.
They're moving Mitchell across now. It's into the offside.
I think there's been a change of tactic against Rory Burns, hasn't it? They're trying to hang him outside that off stump a bit.
So the man there on the drive. Bolt runs in, bowls to him, full, drives to mid-off. No real power in that. Floodlights still on. It's been a funny old day today. They've been on for much of it. This low cloud around. Very warm. It's going to get hotter as well.
Well, it's going to be 30 degrees, they say, on Sunday. With a lack of aircon in the media stand as well. Might be a bit tricky.
I know. Yes, it's a bit.
I might have to come in with vest.
It's a bit close in here at the moment. It hasn't warmed up yet. Bolt kicks up his heels, and there's a good ball again, swinging away from the left-handed Burns. He plays it well though. Conway is the fielder at backward point.
The balls that have swung, Aggers, you know probably this a bit more than me, have been sort of, they've swung early, haven't they? If you know what I mean, they've swung from the hand, and that you've just been able to sort of gauge the swing and perhaps leave.
I don't know why that should be, whether it's the ball, the weighting of the ball. Well, I will say, we saw at Lords, is New Zealand work really hard on the ball, don't they? They polish.
It's an absolute cherry out there.
Yeah. Bolt bowls very full, nicely driven by Burns, straight down the ground, just to the onside of straight. Chase for Wagner, tearing down the ground here. He's going to dive, down he goes, and takes the ball with him. To a great cheer from the Hollies stand. But they don't come any more committed or wholehearted than Wagner, that's for sure. Yeah. Dashing off, he was never going to get it.
No, lovely shot.
Yeah, it was a good shot.
Gets himself in a gorgeous position. Does Rory Burns, whenever things in sync and moving well, just hopped across to the onside and bunted it through mid-on. Difficult shot to play.
That's the end of the first over after tea. 159 for 4. Burns 79. Lawrence has 12. You might be wanting to catch up. Well, Ingham won the toss, batted first. No spinner again. Sibley and Burns were on 67 together before lunch, but then 4 wickets fell in the afternoon session. Sibley for 35, Crawley 0, Root 4, and Pope looked very well set. And then he's played a bit of a lazy shot outside the off stump to the left arm spinner Patel, and was caught behind for 19.
Yeah, he'll be kicking himself.
Well,
with
he
that.
didn't look very happy when he walked off, I must say.
No.
1:59 for 4.
More acceleration from Rory Burns. We saw him accelerate after reaching sort of 90 odd at Lords in the first test. 49 from his first 140 balls, and now 30 from the last 40. He's hit boundaries off the last ball of 4 of the last 5 overs.
Henry's bowling from the City end, and Lawrence, you feel this is an important innings for him. There's going to be some changes come the next test match that England play against India, with people returning and so on. So
Get a few under your belt.
Lawrence and Pope and these people, it's
Crawley.
Absolutely, Crawley indeed.
Crawley's under pressure.
He is. So a great opportunity.
There's old Jack walking round. Sorry, Agus, to interrupt. Old Jack Leach. He
yes.
must be thinking, what's he got to do to get game?
Henry bowls. He's left this to third man, and it's going down for 4.
Yeah, time
and
to-
if that doesn't make sense, then he absolutely was leaving that, and the ball hit the bat and has somehow gone for 4 runs. We sometimes talk about moral victories for bowlers if it gets the edge or something, but I mean, I'm not sure what you can say to the bowler there.
He's middled it.
Absolutely, off the middle of the bat.
Timed it beautifully. Timed the leave wonderfully
Yeah.
well. If he can do such a thing, he did it.
Well, Henry's shaking his head there, and that was more than just a moral victory. But Lawrence moves to 16.
Yeah, it's been slightly scratchy.
Has bat very high as Henry bowls to him outside the off stump, just narrowly outside. He's coming up and doing some gardening. This seems a bit late on things at the moment. It was an appeal for leg before wicket early on when
Very
he was
late.
so far from hitting the ball.
Yeah.
And that one just seemed a bit late. The leave was a bit late. And anyway, he's pacing round now. He's got the bat tucked under his arm. Twiddle of the bat. And Matt Henry will continue from the City end. 3 slips and a gully awaiting. Big jump and he bowls, and Lawrence squared up a little, plays defensively off the back foot and finds mid-wicket.
Yeah, he looks like he's just searching for a bit of rhythm.
Yeah.
I know that sometimes people find that hard to understand when you bat, but it is a rhythm thing as well, as you say, with like Rory Burns, those sort of trigger movements and everything just working and nice and fluid. He just feels a bit stabby.
All works in sync, doesn't it?
Yes, it does, and he's just searching for it
Yeah.
a bit, I think, Lawrence.
Did for you once that time, didn't it? In comes Henry over the wicket, bowls, and that's edge. Now,
another one.
how's he got it down there this time? He's stood up there and looking to play that into the leg side, or so it appears. Henry's just got his smiling, got hands on his hips. That looked to me as if he was looking to work that away towards mid-wicket.
Yeah.
And he's got another 4 through third man.
He's middled another one through the slip cord, and this time trying to, as you say, it's a bit more of an outside edge that got squared up, but it's rocketing off his bat through there.
Well, it is, but that's not where he's necessarily aiming.
It's like he's playing with a round bat.
Poor old Henry, he's given away 2 boundaries in the over.
Yeah, it stuffed him twice.
Lawrence has raced on to 20. Henry again comes in, bowls to Lawrence, full straight, and he plays that back to the bowler who wants to glare at him, but the batsman's not engaging in that. He simply turned his back, and that's the end of the over. 167 for 4. Burns 79. Lawrence has 20, and they're certainly in great voice over there. A reminder of what a live and large crowd is like at Edgbaston. There's an enormous beer snake there going along the front of the stand on the lower level.
Oh yeah.
It's as if they've been, they're missing 2 years constructing that somewhere, and they've unveiled it today. It must be,
30 foot long.
yeah, I was going to say 10 yards. That's about right, isn't it? There's a lot of people carrying it. It's all very well until it collapses on somebody, which is always people aren't necessarily keen on the beer snake when they're just sitting there quietly, but you don't really sit quietly in the Hollies stand.
No, you know what you're going to get, don't you?
Yeah, there are other places to sit at Edgbaston if you want a quiet time. If you don't mind shouting and raucous behaviour and fancy dress and so on, then you'll have the time of your life in there.
Yeah, I don't think there's too many people scoring in there.
No, I think you're right. I think you're right.
Andy, could you be able to score in the Hollies?
Andy scores under any circumstance. In goes Bolt, and this is pushed away off the back foot by Burns down to backward point. The old beer snake wouldn't put you off, would it, Andy?
I just don't see why you'd come to cricket and not score. weird way to spend a day.
Did you start off with one of those very old little score books that we all used to start with at school? And did you start one of those? Are they still going? Do you still score with those? Well, electronic now, is it? And iPads and stuff.
From little scoreboard books, big score books grow.
Correct. Bowling short. Burns looks at it and keeps the bat out of the way.
I had to score a game for my son's team, under 12 club team in South London, and there is an app.
Oh, is there? Yes.
Inevitably.
But the app is not entirely reliable. You have two people scoring in the app, one person doing it old school, pencil and paper, because we need a bit of backup. But that's a lot more stressful than doing this. I've got the internet here in case I've missed something.
Were you doing pen and paper, or were you doing
pen and paper?
You're doing oh right. Goes Bolt, and Burns will pick up a couple here, just flicking that wide of Patel at mid-on. Scampering after it to within about 10 yards of the boundary to our left. Nice shot that from Burns as Bolt just strayed onto about leg stump. A little flick of the wrists and sends the ball away through the gap in mid-wicket. There's always that great moment where as a youngster or a club cricketer you graduate from that little scorebook onto the next size up.
Yeah.
They've got this sort of hard cover, and you open that up and that, it's got a bit more information in there. And it's the next division, isn't it? Bolt again. Oh, that's beautifully bowled. It's the in-swinger to Burns. That I don't think he's picked many of these that he's bowled at today. He hasn't bowled too many, but every now and then he'll just toss in that one.
It's more of a sort of a wrist in swinger, isn't it? Than actually, it's more of just sort of like trying to change the angle.
Yep.
Not like a Jimmy Anderson sort of away swinger, a big hooping in swinger. It's just that one that sort of tails into the left-hander.
He often does it cross seam, I think. It just scrambles it.
Yeah.
169 for 4. In he goes again. Bowls to Burns. That also comes back in at him, but he's forward this time. Playing out to Mitchell, coming in there from the covers.
Well, I was watching, talking of scoring, I was watching at lunchtime about the 93 tour that's on.
Spin wash.
Yeah, spin wash, yes. And,
I haven't seen it yet.
No, and unfortunately Clem was poorly over there, and Dermot Reeves' mum stepped in.
Correct. She scored for us. That's quite special.
That was it.
Yeah. We pressed her into action somewhere. Then goes Bolt. And, that's out, is it? Yes, it is. Caught it slip. A loose shot from Burns. It's beautiful bowling. He's bowled 2 into him. That was full and swinging away, and Burns chased it. And he's caught low at slip. And you've got to give the bowler a lot of credit for that. Burns will be cross-look. He's hammering his pad with his bat. He knows he's been suckered there. But that's beautiful bowling. Burns' foot was nowhere near it. It was just absolutely set up by the bowler. And it's one of those moments where it works for you. You have these plans, and when it works, it feels fantastic. But there's the applause for Burns, who's out for 81. He's walking off looking very dejected. But I'm giving that absolutely full marks to the bowler, because that is beautiful to see it being set up.
It was the length as well, John. Yeah. The length drew him in. It was that sort of, and he's hit a few beauties through sort of cover point off a Bolt as well, but this time the length was just perfect, and as you say, a couple of ones that have just tailed in on him.
Yep. And
he went after that and just flicked at it and perhaps didn't quite get to the pitch of it. Perfect length, big outside edge, and well caught the second slip. Low catch.
It was brilliant, because you're right about the length. Yeah. There's 2 that were in with just...
Hold on, is this Mark? This is Mark Wood. Yes. No, it's not.
No, it's Bracey.
Bracey. So I was just going to say, we're only a couple away from Wood here.
Wood's in next.
And this is, sorry about the tail.
Yeah.
I mean, you just,
But that length was, right, there you go, there's 2 of those, and now
beautiful.
There you go. Have a look at that.
Slightly fuller.
Eyes lit up.
Yes.
It's wonderful bowling.
It's the old 3-card trick, isn't it?
Beautiful. I really admire that. Nice catch too, by the way, by Latham. You could see it coming.
Yeah. Very good bit of bowling. Well, they've set a couple of the England boys up, haven't they? Crawley got set up by Wagner with a couple of in-swingers, which he was not quite knowing whether to leave or play, and then stuck his bat out, and one that went across him. So it's a very experienced bowling unit, isn't it? Simple as that. New Zealand, full of talent, full of guile, and they know their stuff.
Yeah.
Burns' final figures: 81 from 187 balls with 10 fours, following on from his excellent 100 at Lords. Before that, 78 runs in 10 innings. Excellent return to form for Burns this summer.
Yeah.
Henry's continuing his battle with Lawrence here. Comes in, bowls to him, and he stands up and plays into the onside. It's one of those wickets where, if you watch the highlights tonight on BBC
Exactly.
2 at 7 o'clock, I'll say, because Ish will hit me, she's behind me. I've got to tell him, 7 o'clock, BBC 2.
Yeah.
If that ball is shown out of context,
Oh, well, no, it won't be.
you're going to say, what a terrible shot that
course
was.
it
Look at
won't.
that.
It's the BBC
Full and-
highlights,
Full
John.
and wide, and what a terrible shot played by Broad.
It
It's the
won't.
balls before it that build it up. Here's the next one, turned away by Lawrence. He should get a couple here. Let's see. You've taken one, thinking about the second. Yes, they will get the second.
No, it won't be shown out of context, John, because we then build that into the story.
Yeah.
Of course we do.
In.
Come
and
on.
that big, yeah. It was lovely. 171 for 5.
Well, you're on them, and you
We'll
today.
check later and find out.
Are you doing it? You.
Yeah, but I think my only contribution so far was a rather disappointing contribution to that hand sanitising fancy dresses that won't make the cut. I'd failed to see what was written on the front.
Really? Not
Went
much
for it,
from-
yeah, perfectly timed and everything. In goes Henry, bowls, and that's pushed off the back foot by Lawrence, out towards wide mid-off. And there's no run, but I'm afraid, I think the BBC decency policy might come in there
okay.
pre-9 o'clock.
Very good. Yeah, but no, they've bowled well, and they've got themselves back because they wouldn't have panicked at lunch either, this bowling unit, because you can sometimes go in and go, oh, blimey, we haven't
Well,
got a
they've always
wicket.
been in control, haven't they?
Yes, and they bowl for each other and they stick together.
Henry bowls to Lawrence, who's forward, looking to drive. That might have gone off the bottom of the bat there. It said he sounded like it.
Crack.
Let's go and do a bit of gardening there, a bit of prodding away.
I think this pitch might just start to misbehave a little bit, even though with Edgbaston it does sometimes get a touch better, sort of day 2 and day 3, and then it goes a bit. But I just get the feeling might play a few tricks, especially with the sun out.
171 for 5. Henry again from the City end, moves in, bowls wide outside the off stump. He's put that away. Not quite where I was expecting him to hit it, but he's flogged it really through extra cover off the back foot for 4. Expecting more of a squarer cut there, but
a flog.
he's hit it hard though.
A flog's a good description of it.
Yeah. Flogged it through extra cover.
Yeah.
And well, it came off the middle of the bat anyway, and goes to 26. 175 for 5. So 31 overs remaining today.
Yeah, that's what New Zealand will be thinking. Because they'll just be thinking, hold on a minute, Mark Wood's in next.
Yeah.
Come on, lads. We haven't taken a wicket all first session, and then we've found ourselves in a good position.
Henry bowls and Lawrence covers up to a good length ball on the off stump, which he plays back to the bowler to conclude that over. The 60th in the innings, and England are 175 for 5. It's been not a challenging day, but it's been a bit going on today. To be fair, the bowlers have always had a bit of interest in things today. The ball's swung, but that still doesn't look at the moment to be enough.
No. After that first session, I was looking at 400.
Yeah.
But they've stuck to the task well, and their plans have worked, haven't they? Their skill, you can see the skill.
Yeah. So Wood, Stone, Broad and Anderson.
Yeah.
That's what remains.
I don't think Woody would mind me saying that perhaps he's not a Test 8.
Isn't that where Gary Sobers started? He started at 8, didn't he?
Did he? Okay. I think Dennis Compton batted low down as
Did he?
well when he started. He used to bowl left arm spin, I think, Dennis Compton.
That's out of Gary.
Did he? Yeah. Yes, funny that. Yeah, I never managed to make it.
175 for 5. And Bracey is about to face his first ball.
Yeah.
And he'll be hoping things go rather better than
He
at
needs to-
Lord's in his debut where he got a duck.
Yeah, he needs to get off the mark, the boy.
Left-handed. And in goes Bolton. Bowls. Jim's caught! First ball.
Wow.
Almost a repeat of Burns, and he hasn't left the crease. He's slumped. Absolutely devastated with that. Full swinging. He's lured him into the drive, and he's edged that to third slip, who's taken it chest, shoulder high to his left, and Bracey's got a first baller.
What is that shot, I'm afraid? I know it's only his second Test match, but really wide, really full and swinging, and he's decided to have a nibble at it. He's done actually pretty well to get an edge on that, and he can't believe it. Feel a bit sorry for him, but the mind just surely must see that that's wide and full and swinging away from him. Why have a nibble at that? Oh dear, yeah, not a great shot there by Bracey. He'll be devastated.
It was wide.
Well, it's very wide,
And
and,
he's
and
just-
swung wider.
As if he's desperate to
Field battle
get
ball,
bat on it. Well, the news is that it isn't Mark Wood coming
No.
out to face the hat-trick ball.
It's Ollie Stone.
It's Ollie Stone. It sounds like there might have been a bit of a lottery down there in the pulling of straws. And we'll see who's coming out. But my time is up, so Isha's going to come in. Trent Boult on a hat-trick.
Yeah.
Ollie Stone's going to face it. It's 175 for 6. And Bracey, well, devastating for him. So toughest thoughts
Yeah.
from you, and then Isha's coming in.
And I don't think he'll get a better chance to get one. Ollie Stone, no disrespect. It's probably, not decent number 8, but the ball's swinging. And he's in good weather, in good rhythm. And he can smell a hat-trick, I reckon, Isha.
Yeah, well, he's probably been in this position many times before, Trent Boult. He can smell blood.
Bad shot that by Bracey, wasn't it?
Yeah. Just saw him rehearsing a couple of drives and defensive shots before he played that. 2 slips in the gully in position then for this hat-trick ball. Trent Boult running in the left armour. Bowls full, nearly the outside edge. You would have heard a sound as it went through to the keeper, but it wasn't bat on ball. Thankfully for England, 175 for 6 here at Edgbaston. England winning the toss, electing to bat first. They were in a great position at lunch. They proceeded to lose 4 wickets in that second session, and now Trent Boult is the chief destroyer in this final one so far.
You saw James Bracey practising some drives, and you didn't see him practising any leaves.
Yeah, there weren't any leaves, yes. As that is bowled onto the pads, down the leg side. Was it off the bat of Stone as it will go into the boundary? No, it was leg byes, signalled by the umpire.
I think that can only be sort of nerves, I think, and just sort of that reaction that you just, you're pent up, you didn't get any at Lords as well, and you just go out. It's a bit of a brain freeze, I reckon, that you're not quite in the zone, because otherwise any professional batsman really would have then just looked at that, lined it up and left it, wouldn't they?
Yeah, especially Trent Boult angled away from
Exactly,
the left-hander.
and swinging.
Stone dabs at the ball outside the off stump, looked very uncomfortable there. The ball again just shaping back in from Trent Boult.
Feel sorry for the lad, because he will just be, he's sat in that dressing room now, head in his hands going, why on earth did I have a little flicky drive first ball at Trent Boult, after just seeing the dismissal of Rory Burns, which was almost the same, and he was on 80 odd, let alone on naught.
Stone still in his crease.
No, he's bowled
Beats the
beautifully.
edge as it goes through to the keeper. Another good delivery. This time just angled across, doesn't come back in. And that's part of the problem for the right-handers. They feel it might come back into them if you're not reading it well enough. Don't know whether to play or leave.
A little cross seamer there. That's what he kind of does. He doesn't actually look to sort of swing it away from the right hand. He just looks to just run it across him with a cross seam.
Square leg goes back out to the boundary, about 3/4 of the way back. Final ball of the over then, as Boult charges in. Oh, that's a beautiful delivery on the stumps, but negotiated by Stone on the front foot. Nearly hit him straight on the pad, but he managed to get his bat down in time to play it towards mid-wicket. No run at the end of the over then, but a successful one for Trent Boult and New Zealand. 179 for 6. Stone on naught. And Lawrence on 26, who's looked quite assured out in the middle, Dan Lawrence. Got off the mark early on in his innings, would have been thinking about it, I'm sure, over the last week, having scored the duck at Lords, and now in a situation here where he's having to look after the tail.
He's run a few off of Henry through the third man area, hasn't he? And been turned round a little bit, but he is still there. Perhaps there's a little bit more in this pitch than we think. But Trent Boult's just playing with us like a cat with a mouse at the moment.
Lawrence still gets across, works it out to deep backward square, angled in on the pads, Matt Henry.
Lovely position that'd be, when you're bowling. And you're just going, I think I'll just swing a few in and then run one across and teeing them up, and the little plans in your head that you devise to build an over. That's when it's a nice game.
So Lawrence is off strike. He moves to 27, 180 for 6. Ollie Stone just patting down the wicket, has a quick look over to the leg side boundary. That man at square leg has come inside the circle. 3 slips in a gully in position as Henry bowls defended to the offside.
Nice.
For good length.
What's his stats? Ollie Stone doesn't strike me as being a batting or a bowling all-rounder, but he's looked pretty assured there.
And in first-class cricket, which played this is his 3rd Test match, made 19 in one of his innings, but only 1 other run so far. But in first-class cricket after this ball,
Stone allows one to pass outside the off stump.
673 runs, average 15, 1 half century. Just looking at where he's backed, mostly down at at number 10 in his county career, so batting 8 in a Test match.
I know.
Some dizzy heights of number 8.
I know,
Phil.
isn't it strange? That does work out sometimes.
What was the highest you
9, I batted once. I know.
Stone drives
Shot.
to mid-on. Fuller delivery. Get back in your crease is what Dan Lawrence is thinking as the throw is sent in, misses the stumps.
I know, it sometimes happens that you sort of bowl more times for your country than your county. I mean, Ramp certainly bowled more times for England than he did for England. I think Marcus Trescothick as well. You know, or people, sometimes you find yourself in that strange position where you've got to do something for you. You've got to do it. It's your duty.
Henry past the stumps, guided to gully by Stone. Just waiting for that ball to come. No run.
James Bracey, just the 9th man in Test cricket for England to start his career with 2 ducks. Chris Tremlett, the most recent fast bowler. Gavin Hamilton made a pair in his own Test all-rounder.
South Africa.
South Africa, November 99.
Yeah. Gucci.
Henry bowls to Stone, who's defending back down the pitch. Another good length delivery, this time slightly tighter to the stumps. At the end of the over, 180 for 6. Stone yet to get off the mark. Dan Lawrence on 27.
Yeah, Graham Gooch was the one before Hamilton. 1975 on this ground made a pair against Australia. It took him quite a few years before he sort of fully broke into the Test. I think it was 4 years before his first century. Before that, D.W. White and D.R. Smith in the early 60s. Brian Close as a very young played in 1949 as a teenager, played in 1976 as a 45-year-old, I think, or a 46-year-old. C.I.J. Smith in the 30s, and the one before that, G.F. Grace, Fred Grace, W.G.'s younger brother, in the first Test ever played in England, made a pair against Australia.
So he's in good company.
Yeah. Sympathy definitely with him as Bolt comes in down the leg side to Dan Lawrence. Diving away to his left is Tom Blundell. Yeah, you're just thinking he got the opportunity on the back of an injury, really, Ben Folkes. So in his mind, he's thinking this is probably my last opportunity to really make a name for myself. Of course, there's another chance to bat in this Test match, but you're thinking Joss Butler's going to come back in for the India series.
Oh, I think he'll get definitely another chance to have a bat.
Lawrence crouches and pushes at the ball outside the off stump. Head goes over to outside the off as well. Lights on here at Edgbaston. Those clouds have just retreated ever so slightly, a bit higher.
Yes.
And less dark grey, less with a gloomy feel to them. As Bolt receives the ball, shines it now with the sweat from his forehead.
They do look after the ball well, the Kiwis.
Yeah.
They're forever working on it.
It's a bit like Anderson and Broad as Bolt is in now to Lawrence, turning it off. His hips out to deep backward square for a single. Come through for just the one as...
That follow-through, Isha, that's got to be in the danger area, hasn't it?
As Lawrence moves to 28,
yeah, he's just poking it now.
6.
Got to be in the danger area, hasn't it? I mean, that is virtually on the perfect line of off stump, isn't it?
Already some marks being produced.
Yeah, big
From him
dart.
bowling over the wicket. He's coming round now.
Yeah, because he
Trent
don't
Bolt
fancy
to-
it, yeah. I think Dan Lawrence has just said, hello, come on, umpire, you're not seeing this.
Maybe also because Ollie Stone is on strike. 3 slips in the gully then as Stone drives, beats a diving point to his left, heads out to the boundary as he'll pick up a couple, throw is sent in. Stone off the mark then, 183 for 6, Stone to 2.
Yeah, no, yes, Dan Lawrence having a right old garden on Trent Bolt's follow through. Yeah, that will definitely come into play as the game goes on.
I'm sure you've already said it, Phil, but you wouldn't mind playing in the same team as
Absolute,
Trent Bolt.
take him around in my kit bag. I'd pack him up and put him in my back pocket.
It's
You're
a bit-
coming with me, Trent. And I'd follow him, whatever club side he played for. Yeah,
Bowl on the wicket some more, you would say.
yes.
Stone leaves outside the off stump, lunges at the ball. That curve from the left armour angled into the stumps.
Yeah, I'd even go down and to the sports shop and get him some special spikes made. Yes. And
Extra long.
Yeah, extra long with just file the tips off for him as well. Yeah, no, it is handy. It is handy. I mean, it definitely helps. And especially the off spinner, if you've got a left armour.
Red marks down either side of the back of his trousers, Trent Bolt, giving it more of a shine now as he sets off, away he goes. And Stone works it out to deep square, a man that's just gone out. Ajaz Patel sprinting in to take the ball, but they managed to come back for 2. Stone to 4, 185 for 6 as the over comes to a close. So New Zealand be delighted with this position.
Showing the class, haven't they, today? Lost the toss.
Yeah, plenty of action today. Reminder, you can watch the highlights on the BBC Sport website now, and today at the Test is on BBC Two from 7 p.m. He'll be treated to a Rory Burns 50, but sadly a bit of a collapse for England in the afternoon session.
Naive, I think it springs to mind. You know, even Ollie Pope's shot, you know, short and wide outside the left arm spinner, perhaps just, you know, trying to, not a great shot, and a few sort of pokes and prods and flicks outside the off stump when not in.
Lawrence bat high in the air as he now crouches and pulls
Shot.
a short ball down to the fine leg boundary. Yes, it beats the man diving to his right. Trent Bolt down there will pick up 4. And Lawrence moves to 28, the score 185 for 6.
I mean, that was a poor delivery by Henry, but I think already Dan Lawrence is thinking to himself, right, I might have to just, I think that's 32.
Yeah,
32,
it is. It
yeah.
moves to 32.
I think, you know, he's thinking to himself, I might actually have to get motor in a bit here. With the tail that's coming in, he was looking to be a lot more aggressive.
There's a deep point out on the boundary as Henry bowls back of a length, and that has moved quite some distance off the pitch. Really bangs it in. And Tom Blundell does well to stop the ball, diving across Ross Taylor at first slip.
I think second slip was taking evasive action there as well. I mean, it really did hoop after it pitched.
See Daryl Mitchell warming himself up at third slip. Arms pumping from Henry. Good line bowled, but Lawrence takes a look and just raises his bat in a circular motion to let it go. It's getting slightly darker here now.
Yeah.
That atmosphere creeping up though again. There was a bit of a lull, Phil, after we were last on in the afternoon. They perked up after lunch. They were seriously loud in 6th or 7th gear, and then a dry period as Lawrence pushes at the ball to mid-on.
Literally, probably.
Pacing themselves.
Yeah. They might have had a little rest. Rest the larynx of the voice books.
Piping back up again as deep backward square comes into the ring. 2 more balls left of this over. So wanting to keep Lawrence down this end.
Is it the larynx? Yeah, it is the larynx, isn't it? Isn't it?
Yep.
Yeah. Laryngitis.
Yep. I know a few people that have been affected with that. musicians.
Yes, nodules.
Yeah, the nodules is Lawrence drives to mid-on and it beats him. Comes through for one, pushing back for two as three men chase after the ball. Throw sent in now. Moves to 34 then, Dan Lawrence, 191 for 6. I've been receiving messages from Cornwall, Phil.
Oh, okay. What's going on down
The
there?
in-laws down there.
Oh, okay. Lovely.
Carbis Bay,
Beautiful.
G7 Summit.
Oh, right. Well, yes.
So there's been a lot of commotion in the last month or so as they gear up for several world leaders to attend.
Okay.
As Lawrence taps his bat down. Now back and across. Gets right across over to the off stump and looks to play it to mid-on, but kind of hits the inner part of the bat, falls onto the floor towards mid-wicket, no run. End of the over then, 191 for 6. Stone on 4, Lawrence on 34.
Is that about all the carbon footprint
Yep.
and everything? Yep.
Yeah, climate change.
Yes.
They'll come together and have a chat. And I mean, I personally thought if you're advocating for climate change, then why don't you just stay at home and do a Zoom call?
Very good
than
point.
flying all the way over to
Yes.
Southwest.
Yes. Slightly ironic,
Cornwall.
isn't it?
But anyway, so
What a good idea.
you have to go. There's only a couple of roads that basically head into Cornwall, and then one road that takes you all the way from the main road down through Leland into Carbis Bay and then St Ives.
Okay.
And it goes past my sister-in-law's house.
Yes, you sound like you know the area.
Yeah. I'm not making this up.
No,
This is-
go on.
We're going to have a change of bowling from
Yes.
the pavilion end. Neil
Yeah.
Wagner coming in.
Be a very good cab driver around Cornwall by the sounds of it. Go on. You know your stuff. Carry on.
As Wagner setting his field. He's got 3 slips in a gully for Ollie Stone, who's on 4. Gentle movement at the crease as he drives, but miscues it to mid-off, no run.
And what's happened?
So yesterday they heard a loud noise outside their house, and they are literally right next to the main road that goes into Carbis Bay.
Yeah.
Apparently Joe Biden drove past with a chopper, 10 to 12 vehicles all flashing with a crazy truck and some
A
Hummers.
chopper? What, he was on a motorbike?
Those 1980s kids.
He was on a chopper.
Stone pats the ball back to the bowler. No, as in there was a helicopter flying.
Oh, a helicopter.
Thought he'd gone with a BMX myself.
Yes, that's right. Joe Biden on a chopper. Oh, right, so it's all go down there then.
Yeah.
Yeah.
There's an aircraft carrier as well, the Prince of Wales, out at sea, just
Wow.
off the coast.
It's all kicking off.
Yeah, plenty of security. I was down there recently as Stone drives at one but misses it through to the keeper. That was a real flay outside the off stump, a real... Well, he didn't need to play that at all, really.
That
It
was
was
a
a
hack.
proper hack.
Yeah, it was. Running across him, as you say, and just a real waft. Oh, that means the traffic will be tricky
Oh,
down there.
yeah.
Oh, no, hot and sticky. You just want to get to the beach and have an ice cream,
Yeah,
and you're stuck behind a chopper
or a tractor.
or a tractor.
Wagner in again, the left armour. Stone on the back foot, punching to wideish mid-on, no run. Yeah, Darren Mitchell looks like he's going to come on soon in place of Colin de Grandon for this test match. Got some good away shape whenever he's been on. Wagner receives the ball. Nice big green grass stain on his right knee as he circles at the top of his mark. Flashes of orange from the soles of his shoe. Short ball, which Stone is able to navigate. The tall man that he is, able to ride the ball into the ground in front of point, no run. He bowled with plenty of heart at Lords,
Oh, yes.
without much return, Neil Wagner.
Batted well as well. Got to
Oh,
be.
he's
the
been
one.
promoted
Got to be.
this time round as
Got to be.
he winds up, releases to Stone, looking to turn it around the corner down to fine leg, but I think it'll be a leg by. As Tom Blundell retrieves the ball. Signalled a leg by, so Stone remains on 4, 192 for 6 at the end of the over. Andy.
You mentioned Neil Wagner's different lengths in this series, one of the all-time great purveyors of short pitch bowling, huge success. Has taken more wickets with short balls than any other bowler over the last 5 years, but in this series he's bowled fuller than he has since 2014 in any innings. It's the 65th innings he's bowled since January 2015, and the 3 in this series have been the fullest pitched that he's bowled in that time. It's a different strategy from a fine and versatile bowler.
Yeah. He's been brilliant in Test cricket in the last couple of years. Some words from you, Phil? Or no, Dan, you're ready. Dan Norcross is here.
I'm here. I'm ready to go. 192 for 6. I wanted to talk about James Bracey.
Oh, don't. Bless him.
I know. I just wanted to ask.
Gonna go
I
down.
felt so sorry for him. No one wants to get out playing. They're not trying to do that.
Well, we were just talking, myself and Isha, and just saying it was a bit of a scrambly mind, perhaps.
Mitchell in, starts a new over, driven by Stone up to mid off. There's no run. It'll look terrible. You'll see the highlight of that on the BBC Sport website and app, and you'll scream, how?
Scream.
Why did he do that? He'll say,
Scream.
why? Well, you probably will.
Yeah, he will.
Because, and that's the thing. He more than anyone.
Yeah.
And he looked like it as he walked back. He knew exactly what he'd done.
Yeah. Amazing, isn't it, really, how that can happen?
Yeah.
Because he would have been lying in bed last night thinking, well, if Bolt comes on, he's going to look to swing it away, and so I'm going to leave it early on, and then this is how I'm going to sort of start chugging over mid-score.
Mitchell in, Stone is just working this ball off a thick outside edge to Patel at point. There's no run.
And then, you would have built scenarios in your head, and he would have been doing that all day today since England won the toss, and then you go out there, and it all goes to mush, doesn't it? And you just have a flick at a wide away swing and half volley and nick it the 4th slip, I think it was.
Well, I think he was technically the 3rd slip, but by the time he'd caught it, it was that 4th slip, wasn't it? Sort of thing.
Yeah.
As Mitchell is in, slips quite wide, and Stone works this away nicely, square of the wicket on the onside. It wasn't precisely where he intended, but it was firm enough. It was in control enough. He gets another run, moves to 5, 193 for 6.
But listen, he's in good company because W.G. Grace's brother in the first Test match got a pair, so,
Oh, that's lovely.
Yeah, just
and Graham Gooch got a pair in his first Test.
Yes, and lots of others that I can tell you.
But this feels somehow...
Because Andy's just told us about 20 minutes ago.
Well, I think it's worse than a pair, though, isn't it? Because poor thing, he's had like a week to stew over the first duck.
He's had to wait
He's had all
longer.
that thought that had gone into it, and it was tough keeping wicket at Lords.
I wonder if there's a special name for that.
Mitchell in, and Lawrence pushes the ball back up the wicket to the bowler off the front foot, and there's no run.
There's a diamond duck, isn't there? Two first bowlers, isn't there?
It'd be a diamond pair.
No, sorry, a diamond. Yes, what's a diamond duck?
It was a diamond at the first ball of an innings.
No, diamond duck's when you run out without facing, isn't it?
Is it?
Is it?
I think it might be. King pair is the first ball in both. Isn't it?
That's
first
right.
ball in both. King pair, yeah.
And so what's that? What pair's he got, Bracey?
Well, he's not really got one. Shortcut.
He has.
And it's got 2 extra cover and there's no run.
Sorry, but yes.
Because technically, he didn't get a pair in the first match because he didn't get to bat second.
No.
And technically, he's not yet batted in this one. But you're right.
Because 4 noughts on the trot's the Audi. 5
That's the
noughts.
Audi,
Yes,
right.
5 noughts is the Olympic rings.
Right.
And then we ran out of.
Who was it? Was it Atapatu who kept on getting ducks in a double 100? You'll come to it after this ball. Here comes Mitchell. In, and Lawrence drives, but again can't get it past cover, and that's the end of the over. 193 for 6, Lawrence 34. Stone has 5. Andy?
Bhavan Atapatu, who went on to score over 5,000 runs in 90 tests for Sri Lanka, began his career with a pair against India in Chandigarh in November 1990. He then didn't play another test for almost 2 years.
Oh, that's harsh.
Came back against Australia, first baller, and a second ball 1. That was August 92. Then didn't play for another 18 months or so, till February 94. Another pair against India.
So 0-0, 0-1, 0-0.
It's like it's like Morse code.
yes. Yes.
And then didn't play until March 97. Finally got a run of scores. Took him a while. Didn't pass 30 in his first, about 10 tests. Then made 100 against India. So it took him, over 6.5 years to get his second run in tests.
And then did well.
Wagner starts a new over and Stone pushes solidly, actually, to mid-on. And
Late
there's no
developer.
run.
Late developer.
Ended up, I think, 6 test double centuries
Yes.
for Sri Lanka.
But it just goes to show.
Saeed Anwar made a pair on debut. Brilliant
Oh, he was a
Pakistan
player. Cool, wasn't he,
opener.
ever?
Yeah, Bracey needs to take all these examples and have belief, but it'll be no consolation to him at all at the moment. 'Cause
No.
the other part of it is that he would have genuinely seen these two matches as an opportunity, wouldn't he, to try and get in the side against India later, because there are problems for England all across their batting. As Wagner bowls outside the off stump, took the keeper no run. I mean, Crawley, what is it now? 11 innings of 106, is it? Combined, so
Yes,
averaging under 10.
And 9 single-figure scores, including his last 6 innings.
And then you have Sibley, who,
Yep.
yes, he got that not out at Lord's. but
Played
we
all right
went-
today.
He played all right. He did play all right. But he
Yeah.
came off the back of 6 single-figure scores. So at the start of the series,
Yeah. Oh, there was
Bracey would have been thinking, well, I
Yeah.
could force my way into the reckoning at the top of the order.
Yeah, exactly. Top of the order.
Here comes Wagner. In again. That's shortish and wide outside the off stump, left alone by Stone, who's playing well for Lawrence here at the moment. Lawrence has 34, finding a bit more fluency. Stone has 5 from 25 balls. And England are 193 for 6. There's movement away to my left. There's Wagner, top of his mark. He's got 3 slips of gully, point, mid-off, mid-on. He's in, left arm over the wicket, left alone by Ollie Stone, through to the keeper. And there is no run. We've got a long leg out there. New Zealand, knowing that another wicket or two, they could easily wrap up England's innings tonight. England, in a way, see these as reasonable conditions to bowl in, should that happen, but we certainly will be looking to maximise every available run after they had such a splendid first session. Thereafter, it's all got a bit tougher as Wagner is in, and that swings back into Stone, who plays it well up to mid-off, and there's no run. Andy?
Diamond Duck is indeed being out without facing a ball.
Right.
It is also, Daniel,
Yes.
the title of a chart-topping single from the Slovenian duo Mariah,
Oh, they
which
cricket
was
fans, were they?
number 1 in the Slovenian charts in 2017.
Very difficult to play cricket in Slovenia because it's very mountainous terrain, isn't it?
Ave Mariah.
So it's Wagner is in, short, up on his toes goes Stone, works into the onside, can't beat the sub fielder who's Bracewell, who's out there for I cannot see who. End of the over, 193 for 6. I made an over, it felt like one. Andy? Stone has 5, Lawrence 34. Lawrence will have strike. For those of you who are sticklers for the over rate, I think we might get them all in today. We've got 23 overs left to be bowled, and they can keep going until 6:30, weather permitting. There was a brief moment when the murk became quite light threatening, but now that murk has drifted away. The Hollies stand has just got a little bit quieter of late. Maybe that's what a maiden over can do for them, but they were in full voice earlier, just a little bit reticent. Maybe I think they're probably just having a break in play before rousing themselves for the last hour. As Mitchell runs in towards us from the city end, bowls to Lawrence, who lets us go by through to Blundell, and there's no run. There's distinctly less threat from Mitchell from the threat we're seeing from Wagner and Bolt. You do wonder if Carl Jamieson had been selected. It wouldn't really have made a huge difference to New Zealand's batting lineup. He can bat, and they do bat deep anyway. Anyway, here is Mitchell running in. It's left alone outside the off stump by Lawrence. He's showing some patience here. He's also got at least a short-term career to be fighting for, because you imagine with Stokes coming straight back in, there's going to be a kind of straight shootout between him and Pope, and Pope's been struggling for runs of late. And I say, actually, I think the sun might be coming out ever so slightly as Daryl Mitchell, with hair similar to mine, as in not a lot of it, runs in, bowls to Lawrence, who drives firmly. Mitchell puts a hand out, stops the ball. Are you with us, Jeremy?
I'm returned,
Oh, lovely.
much to the disappointment of all the listeners.
It's lovely to have you back.
Well, the game's moving nicely at a pace, isn't it?
It really is.
Toute vitesse.
Oui, mais
Yes.
oui.
Yes.
Ouh là là. Tant pis. Sacre bleu, etc. Here comes Mitchell. Running in, and that turns Lawrence round ever so slightly. Thick outside half of the bat, rolls the ball into the offside. Conway is sprightly in the covers and collects the ball, and there's no run. It has moved on a pace, but it's also hit a lull for some reason. I mean, part of it is, I think, because Mitchell's bowling very containingly, isn't he, at one end, and New Zealand are attacking from our end, but Bolt's out of the attack for the time being. Henry's out of the attack.
Well, he's just got to find a good length here, because otherwise he'll go through that leg side.
Mitchell in, and that's full and straight, defended well by Lawrence. Back up the wicket to the bowler, who doesn't want the ball. He wants to give it to somebody else, so he hands it back to the wicket keeper, and then Latham will polish it, and then it will eventually make its way back into his hands.
Lawrence, I mean, he looks a nice striker of the ball, but to me, it's very bottom hand. So the back shoulder, comes round, and so you see more of the chest when you're playing, rather than cricket being a side-on game. And so it's not the lovely drives, it's the cuts and the pulls, dragging it from outside off through the leg side.
Mitchell comes in and completely over, and he drives firmly into extra cover region, but a good tumbling stop prevents a run. End of the over, 193 for 6. That means we had 2 maidens. Is that just the 2 on the trot?
2 on the trot, just 2 runs in the last 4 overs, one of them a leg by.
It felt like that. I had a stint with 4 maidens early today. My first stint was 4 maidens, and that was it. Thank you very much. And of those 24 bowls, I think 19 of them just passed gracefully into the gloves of the keeper.
You shouldn't complain. It gives you a very good chance to show your skills as a commentator.
Oh,
and
no one wants to do that.
Build your picture.
Well, there are 2 men with tabards out there right now, as we have another
Yes, they are.
another unnecessary break in play. Stone has been out there for all of how long? About 25 minutes.
28 balls he's faced.
28 balls. He's got new gloves, which he will require. There are 3 slips in place. Wagner, most excitingly there, he's going to be bowling, and we get the best view of Wagner. We're right behind him. And we've seen he's been getting a fair bit of shape today. He's in now to Stone, and Stone gets one of the pads, which he works into the onside. I think there might have been a bit of bat on that. Wait to see the umpire's signal, if there is a signal, of course. There isn't a signal, so there must have been a bit of inside edge onto pad. Stone gets his 6th run, and England move to 194 for 6. It'll bring Lawrence back onto strike. This ball is still shaping a bit at 68 overs old.
Yes, just enough. New Zealand have been accurate. They've found the edge a few times today, and they've been accurate in the slips, haven't they?
They have. They've not dropped a thing, have they? No, which there have been some sharp chances there. Here comes Wagner, and it's full and pushed back to him. Good catch by Latham.
Good catch, tumbling and falling to his left, both hands underneath it from the bowling of Bolt. Important wicket because it was Burns.
He was looking very solid
today.
He
was very solid. He's caused problems for the New Zealand attack in the 2 test matches so far. He's rendered the innings from England vertebrate.
Wagner in, Lawrence works across his pad. Perilous shot that he's going to pick up a couple of runs. It goes out to Ajaz Patel running in off the deep square leg boundary. That's what I mean, there's a bit of shape there, and that's what you're talking about as well, isn't it? Everything's looking to
through there,
shovel.
Yeah.
But we're still seeing this.
But the pad's there.
Yeah,
that is.
Just enough shape. And a new ball will be available in 11.5 overs time, should New Zealand require it. After this, there's only Wood, Broad and Anderson. 2 slips and a gully in place. Wagner in. And Lawrence leaves this alone. 196 for 6. Lawrence has 36.
I've got quite a short-term memory, but was it? Didn't England score quite a few runs in the last few wickets at Lord's? I know Burns was there and starting to blossom, but.
Well, 140 odd for 6, weren't they, when Robinson came
Robinson got 40 odd, and they had little partnerships throughout. So the innings as a whole, I mean, flourished.
Wagner in, and that's driven by Lawrence. It was full, outside off stump, and that's a rare extra covered drive from Lawrence. No run, it's picked up.
You just sense that he doesn't quite time that as well, though, does he? And it's hitting not the middle of the bat, but sort of the outer half.
Well, Sibley has the same issue as well, doesn't he?
Yeah.
And the sound of the ball off the bat. And it's a strange thing, really, because, you know, people who play cricket kind of like the long half volley outside off stump, don't you? It's a ball to relish somewhat. Here comes Wagner to complete his over. And Lawrence works this to Patel, who'd been brought in for the last ball of the over. He'd been brought up to square leg to prevent a run. And the result of that is that Stone will be on strike for the start of the next over, with England 196 for 6, Lawrence 36. Stone has 6. Andy, I think you're about to tell us something.
England were 140 for 6, as you say. At Lord's, they had 135 for the last 4 wickets, 63 for the 7th wicket between Burns and Robinson, and then Burns and Anderson added 52 as Burns cut loose at the end of his innings.
Yes, it was a very entertaining 10th wicket partnership. What did Anderson make out of that? 1, was it?
8.
Oh, 8 in the end.
Yeah.
Oh, yes. Yes. So after this, as we say, Wood next, then Broad, then Anderson, 196 for 6. Anything under 240 on what's been a blameless pitch will feel massively below par. They will point, I suppose people watching those wickets will say they're only themselves to blame, but there's been some good bowling today from New Zealand as Mitchell runs in and Stone gets a bouncer which he leaves alone. Goes through to the keeper. There's no run. What have you made of the pitch? Has it got enough pace in it for you, Jeremy?
Well, the ball has carried to those slips, Corden, hasn't it? So I think, if anything, it's a little slow, but I think we'll find if we get reasonable weather, it will quicken up. It has a little bit more grass than the Lord's pitch did. So not so much, in other words, sort of inorganic areas for the ball to just get variations in pace.
So
hit the bare passages and it holds on to the ball a little bit more.
There's been a small break in play. I think they may have had the beach ball incident again, and it was given back to the Holly stand as Mitchell is in to Stone, who gets one on the pads. There's a sort of whelpy half appeal, and there's no run as it rolls out into the onside, picked up by Young. Yes, there's been something in it, and there's been movement in the air, and I think we've got a forecast which is very similar to today for tomorrow. So you would expect, if the ball does swing today, that in the hands of someone like Jimmy Anderson, he'd be able to get it to move a bit. And then England have got 2 paces in Wood and Stone for this match. Here is Mitchell, wide of the off stump. Gave a little bit of a grunt then, like a tennis player serving. Went through to the keeper, there's no run.
So that means they can almost have one operating all the time. Stone,
Wood.
And Wood.
Yep. You would think, wouldn't you? Yeah. So they can attack. I don't know which end they would particularly prefer. We haven't seen any particular difference in pace, have we, from one end than the other? Mitchell in. And Stone drives nicely through the infield. Won't make it to the boundary, but it's running up towards the edge of the Holly stand. They're going to pick up a couple of runs. Conway, I think it is, chasing after. They come back for 3. That's good running. And Stone with that moves to 9. England to 199 for 6 on the threshold of 1 batting point in the county championship. None of those here for test matches, of course. 2 balls left in Mitchell's over. Lawrence on strike. I think there's a bit of ball examining going on here. Once it gets to this age, teams become very suspicious of it. They don't feel quite so fond of it as they do when they first get their hands on it. There's a certain resentment towards the ball. It's Mitchell. He comes into Lawrence. 2 slips in a gully and a ring field. Don't want to keep on strike. He comes forward, pushes the ball straight, but it's picked up kind of mid-on, straight mid-on, and there's no run. 10 overs after this before a new ball does become available. You do feel that with a wicket, I mean, just the way Wood and Broad bat, they couldn't really help themselves at Lord's much, could they? Broad certainly couldn't. He
tends to be an out-and-out hitter now.
Well, Burns,
staying leg side of the ball and just hitting at it.
Well, Burns on 91 as well, if you recall, and that's nicely worked by Lawrence, but straight to Wagner at mid-on. So there is no run at the end of the over. England 199 for 6. Stone has 9. Lawrence has 36. And we're a taut, interesting passage of play. Thoughts on that from Jeremy Coney? And then it will be in a splendid mustard-coloured dress. I think it's mustard. Mustard acceptable. It'll be Alison Mitchell.
Yeah, 10 overs until that second new ball. I wonder whether Tom Latham might be just thinking maybe there's a few overs from Ajaz Patel. Might just break this up the medium pace and see how Stone handles that. He won't obviously want to give lots of runs away, but I don't think Ajaz Patel has been particularly, giving lots of runs away today. He's been relatively tight, and there's no reason he shouldn't have at least 2 or 3 of those last few overs before the second new ball. Wagner, of course, is continuing just to use the Duke and getting it to swing back to the right-handers.
Hello, Jeremy. Here is Wagner, and he's back of a length through to the keeper. Stone leaving it alone. There's 3 slips in there for Wagner, bowling to Stone with the gully as well, with the point. Fielder 2. Are you going with mustard? I'm happy with mustard description.
Mustard, yep, very much so.
Tones with Dan's parrots. Are they parrots?
Well, no,
they're
the socks.
green and
the socks, though.
yellow, green and
socks.
gold.
Yes.
Oh, very Australian, Dan. You realise that? he's vowing never to wear that combination in the box again. Wagner, left arm over, slightly back of a length, and Stone gets in behind it, defends, back up the pitch, and left for Patel to pick up, and there is no run. England 199 for 6. Stone having joined Lawrence after the fall of James Bracey's wicket. First baller, and it's back-to-back ducks in tests for James Bracey. And his disappointment was palpable. Close-ups of his face as he was leaving the field. Wagner going full on the drive, outside edge along the ground though from Stone. Behind square, could be 4 to the wide third man, and it is. 2 slips and the gully were chasing after it. But runs being applauded by England. They've got past the 200 mark. 203 for 6 in the evening session here on day 1.
Yep, a lot of runs third man today. Whether left or right hand, there's been that's just run away with the slight angle from the bowlers bowling, left armers bowling across the right-handers. Same for the right-handers across the lefties. And the ball has just run away as they've tried to drive. Burns got quite a few runs there.
Wagner racing, and again full as a play and a miss, drawn forward. Stone not far away from that outside edge, taken by the keeper, lured in. Still bowling wonderfully with such energy, Wagner.
Robinson bowled quite a lot of overs in the Lord's tests. I think. I wonder who'll do that work when you've got Stone and Wood to bowl for England. Who is going to take up those overs?
That's a good question. More for Broad and Anderson between them, defending back up the pitch. One-handed pick-up by Wagner.
Yeah, well, which of those two would you think? I mean, they could bowl extremely well. They found wickets a little harder to come by at Lord's, didn't they? And
well, if it's swinging, then you'd think Anderson would make wonderful use.
Well, it has swung
ball,
today a little bit, hasn't it? And if it's similar that people are talking about tomorrow.
Wagner sets off. And now to Stone. They're now bowling on off stump full. It's getting off the outside edge. It'll be 4 more. Through the cordon it goes, through the gap. And Wagner has hands on his hips. He's going hard at these ones, Stone. 207 for 6.
Not quite that pace that Wagner would like anyway in this surface. It's that's a drive that could easily get in. I mean, they're edged, but nothing to gully and nothing to third slip. So that's why they're running down to third man. They've quite a number down on coming towards us as well to third man. So there's been a high percentage of runs down there.
It's the end of the over. Stone on 17, Lawrence on 36.
Quite often as a captain, you're having to think in your mind now, we've got more of a tail end. I'm not suggesting Stone is, but when you get to the tail end, there's quite often a choice as do I have a mid-off or do I have the third man? And you say to yourself, well, if I get it right, and it's as a bowler, then the chances are that a tail ender has to play a good shot to get it through mid-off. And I'd rather favour the third man than the position where you've got a good shot play. At least he's got to play a good shot to get runs there.
Bit more spin, helmets going on. There'll be men around the bat here. Floodlights have been on all day in the shape of the E, as they are leaning over the ground. Andy.
30% of the runs today have been scored behind square on the offside. To put that in context, in the last, since 2010.
As Patel is in, first ball of the over coming forward. Lawrence working to mid-wicket along the ground, no run.
Sorry, Ali. Since 2010, in the first innings of Tests in England, the overall figure has been 21% of runs scored behind square on the offside, so more today by quite a significant percentage so far.
Backward point in place. Oh, and he's gone back to try and cut. Missed. He's missed the stumps as well somehow. Ross Taylor at slip had his hands on his head. I have to say, how did that miss? Into the gloves of the keeper. In fact, it wasn't. It was a bit of a spill from Blundell. Missed everything. No bat, no stumps. Coming forward into drive. Straight to short, extra cover along the ground. No run. Lawrence sticking in there. There's Patel waiting to come in once more. Just a couple of paces behind the umpire. He walks forward. Whirl of his arms and in. And Lawrence playing it carefully along the ground to short mid-wicket once more. Good afternoon, Alistair.
Good afternoon. I thought this situation Dan Lawrence would have relished being able to be a bit more attacking with only 4 wickets left. Actually, the last
Patel ends forward, stroking it back up to the bowler, no run.
The last few overs, he's kind of gone back into his shell. I know he's been starved of the strike a little bit. He's done well to bowl a lot of balls at Ollie Stone, and Ollie Stone's faced almost 40 balls, and I reckon in that time probably Dan Lawrence has only faced probably 15 or 20, but
here's Patel in again to work it around the leg side. I'm not sure he's got anything on that. It's running away very, very fine down to the boundary in front of us. And the cheer, I think, will tell us that it's gone for 4, and he did get something on it. 211 for 6. Lawrence on to 40 at the end of that over. Yeah, I mean, Dan Lawrence very well, and for him to have gone back into his shell like this, would this be sort of frustrating him? Is he someone who will get pent up, or will he able to ride through this passage until he's able to score more freely?
No, I think it's a deliberate ploy, actually. I think he's decided that they want this partnership is crucial, that they rebuild, and I think the big thing about Dan Lawrence, and sometimes he's going to get out in an ugly way. His technique is unorthodox, so it will look ugly and it will cause a bit of criticism. But actually, one of his great strengths is his belief in his ability and his ability to play and assess the situation. So he's got loads of different gears to his game. He does go up and down gears depending on the situation. He got 100 against a Derby for Essex, and I think this year. And I think he went from 100 150 in 20 balls because we're pushing on. We needed the bonus points before the end. So
new over, and it is Wagner bowling full to Stone. He did well to get his bat down to that. It was searing in almost Yorker length. A little off balance as he jabbed his bat down. Did well to keep it out.
He did actually with full balls, but very quick. Neil Wagner balls bowled very full today to Ollie Stone. So he's got the ability to change his game, and I thought this would be a good situation for him to come on. He's been under a little bit of pressure when he don't score runs in the first test, 1 innings, but it's amazing what happens. I thought it might have freed him up to be more aggressive, his natural style.
Wagner bounding at the crease, bowls to Stone again. outside the off stump. Up to mid off, no run.
Yeah, but Ollie Stone's actually, he's shaped up well, hasn't he? He's shaped up really well. And
These are really important runs they're putting on together.
yeah, absolutely. And I think he's seen that and think, well, actually, I don't need to be reckless. I don't need to be to give my wicket away. I've got, say if Mark Wood gets out and he's faced with left with Stuart Broad and James Anderson, then we'll see it different down Lawrence. And he's played nicely for his 40.
211 for 6, said 175 for 6 when they came together. So if it was another clatter of wickets then, they've done well to first of all get past this 200 mark. Bit of a pause here while Latham and Wagner are sorting out their field for Stone. Gives me a moment to tell you that Sarah Taylor, the former England wicketkeeper bat, has joined the Northern Diamonds, and she's going to be making her debut on Saturday at Headingley. She first announced she was coming out of retirement to play for Welsh Fire in the inaugural year of the 100. And now for Northern Diamonds, she's going to be going straight into the team because Lauren Winfield-Hill is on England duty. The women's test against India starts next week. We'll have ball-by-ball commentary of that for you. But yeah, Sarah Taylor getting back into the game.
Good.
In some style. She's been coaching, hasn't she, at Sussex and working at the club there. So we can look forward to seeing her in action. Wagner in there. He's got a short leg in place and a leg slip. A little bit of lift and bounce through to the keeper. One conventional slip in a gully. So we might expect a few short balls. Alistair, from here, we've got a bit of a leg side field going on. Let's see.
It's probably the latest in a test match he's ever done this, so this will be a good test of your stats. When did Neil Wagner finally go to the latest? He went to the bouncer theory. He's world class at this, and obviously he's given the full ball a go with Ollie Stone. He's bowled a lot of pitched up trying to swing it. And they've obviously a massive change of technique there. He'll be testing the middle of this wicket out.
There's the short ball, and it's dealt with well. Doesn't really get up too much on Stone to trouble him. Defends it into the leg side where short leg is. So fine leg is back. Got a square leg and a deep square leg, just a fraction in front of square. And then the short leg, the leg slip in place. Mid on as well. So just the three fielders on the offside. And Wagner turning at the end of his mark. Bit of sunshine over Edgbaston. The sun's finally broken through this cloud. Stone awaits and Wagner's in. Bangs it in short outside the off stump. And he's able to swish it away. The swat out through point. And picked up inside the rope. Oh, Lawrence wants a third. Good running as well. Really got his head down. And they've made 3 comfortably. So the short ball, but not quite directed where Wagner would have preferred it.
Yeah, he hasn't quite got his length right. Actually, the first one was quite high. Was quite high bounce. The next 2 have been a bit fuller, and they're not bouncing. It's just a short wide one. And Ollie Stone's just didn't time it. Hasn't timed any balls actually. I wonder whether this pitch is hard to time on. I know the outfield's going to be slow, but I'm just going to hear what the lads say at the end of play, because we haven't seen many free-flowing shots. I remember one of Rory Burns of Wagner, he crashed through the covers and it flew to the fence. Everyone else has kind of been a lot of threes, haven't there?
Well, for Lawrence, 2 slips and a gully back in place, and it's more of a length ball outside the off stump. And Lawrence lets it go through to the keeper. 2-1-4 for 6 then at the end of that over. Lawrence stays on 40 with Stone on 20. Andy?
So the highest score of Ollie Stone's brief test career so far is 5th innings. In the previous 4, he'd made a total of 20 runs and been out 4 times in 38 balls. He got 19 from 18 on his debut against Ireland, since when 0 in the second innings of that game, then 1 and 0 in his test in Chennai in February. So fine effort.
Yep, really important. And his first class average is 15, but he has got a half-century to his name. But yep, to be making runs here with England, having been in some trouble, highly valuable.
But still coming in above someone with over 3,000 test runs.
Yeah.
Should we be expecting Stuart Broad to step up in this situation, Alistair?
I think he's quite happy at 10, isn't he? I think he suits his style of play, he'll say, but he could meet the second new ball though.
Patel in, spin continuing, fullish to Stone. He's forward, stroking it up to mid-off. So with those short balls from Wagner, Alistair, from the batsman's perspective, what is the most awkward height to deal with, and in terms of where it's coming to you on the body as well? Full turn to the onside by Lawrence. There's no run, Stone rather.
Yeah, so it's the armpit. If the direction of the ball is just above the armpit, for me it'll be my right armpit, it's the left hand. If you can get it in there, you don't have too many options.
Patel around the wicket again. Here's one stroked into the ground, but then into the hands of short extra cover, no run.
Certainly with that feel, because you got the short leg for the ride. The leg gully is also for the ride. So you can't just ride it, and you can't really hook it with.
Patel from a little wider of the crease, Stone forward, defends again into the offside, no run.
Can't really hook it with obviously deep back, a square leg and fine leg, so it kind of takes all the options away. The one thing is that this wicket and the wicket Lords isn't as hard as the wickets you bowl in New Zealand, so you do have more time to play it.
Patel on the wicket again, forward off the edge of the bat, running into the ground, though square, picked up at point, no run.
So as a batsman, you just got to be very clear what you're going to do. So if I was facing it with that field, I'd be looking to play it, trust myself that I'm, with that shot, I can keep it down, I can hit it to place I want to hit it. But if you want to get out of the way, you've just got to get out of the way of it.
Patel to Stone, forward to the offside, no run. So Maiden, 214 for 6.
I suppose in one way it's just different, isn't it? Like it's no different from banging the length. He's banging the bouncer length. So banging the length, leaving the ball in the channel. He's bowling the bouncer length. You got to decide whether you leave it and that. And he bowled at Steve Smith, and didn't Steve Smith take 40 balls to get off the mark because he's relentless. He said, "I'm not playing it." But because he found that length and the pitch was quicker, he caused Steve Smith a bit of problems. It's just unusual, isn't it? And if you do play the pull shot or the hook shot, you don't have as much control over it because it's a cross-batter shot. You've got to get the ball rising. Actually, your margin for error is small because the ball's coming up and you've got I don't know, is it 4 or 5 inches wide? How wide the bat is? A horizontal shot, you've got less margin for error than you do with playing with straight bat with a fuller ball. So that's what it makes it different. It makes it harder. But on a wicket like this, you don't mind it so much. It's it's slow, isn't it? So you've got more time to adjust, and if it is a shorter one, you can get out of the way of it.
Drinks are being taken here at 214 for 6, Stone on 20 and Lawrence on 40. You mentioned Steve Smith in Australia. I mean, that innings when New Zealand were touring Australia, I remember Steve Smith, he just wore a lot on the body. It was a tremendous sort of duel and a bit of, I don't know, you felt in a way uncomfortable watching it because you wanted him to actually play at it. He was resolutely not going to bend to Wagner's will. Wagner kept persisting. It wasn't a matter of who was going to break first. It was incredible how long that tussle, stalemate almost went for.
Well, you normally say if a bowler's bowling short pitch bowling, you've got 2 or 3 overs of it, and then you think he'll give up. It's hard yakka to bowl bounces, but not Wagner. He doesn't. He's found a way of being able to do it, with his big heart. And it was great viewing. Obviously, Steve Smith in his mind was saying, "I'm not playing the ball shot. It's too risky. I'm just going to get through this spell." But the spell never ended. It was great. It
was wonderful viewing. Yeah. Really intense one-on-one battle on those bouncy, hard Australian pitches as well. But if Wagner persists with it here, well, it'll be entertaining to watch in a way as well to see whether Stone or Lawrence decide to go after it and how they play it.
Absolutely. I actually have to commend you on your stint just now, Ali.
Which stint was that?
Just there commentating, because you've had a few other issues with car keys today. I know people have brought up, but the final thing that the recovery are here now. They need your car keys. And
are they here? Okay. There is a hunt for my car keys to go, and I think breakdown services have arrived at Edgbaston to recharge the car battery. So I've been rescued, and I'm probably a little bit sheepish about it.
It's just the fact that you're commentating as Wagner's bowling bouncers, and you're telling there's not that bag, it's the other bag.
No one would have known what was going on in the background,
unless you were sitting watching. So I thought it was fantastic.
Well, you see, as you're talking about, Wagner never running out of energy, I was thinking maybe he operates like some sort of hybrid vehicle. Like when he's not bowling, he somehow recharges himself in the field, and then he's sort of back at it, and he never runs out of energy. I mean, if only that had been the case with my vehicle.
I still don't know how you left the car on, to be honest with you, but I'm sure
the engines are so silent. Have you driven a hybrid?
I actually haven't, no, but
the engines are so silent. It's like, you don't hear the cars coming along the road. It's like they're rolling.
Yeah, but
so I'd parked and just felt that the engine was off. And I even exited the vehicle with my keys.
But surely when you stop, you think, I'll just turn my engine off and walk out the car.
Well,
clearly not.
I stopped with the handbrake on. It felt like I'd stopped. Anyway.
Oh, well.
Thankfully, Aggers is in to relieve me from the commentary duties. But 2-1-4 for 6 then. Really important, could be a very significant partnership between Lawrence and Ollie Stone, however long they can keep it up. But Alistair, another few thoughts from you, and then here's Aggers.
Yeah, so you got your microphone as if you want to say something. Is it about cars, or are you going to tell us?
No, it's
nice
about
stuff?
cricket, actually. Well, the partnership currently 39 from 13.5 overs. There's another test match going on that's begun today in the West Indies. West Indies playing South Africa. South Africa's first test tour of the West Indies since 2010, and they've started well. West Indies are 48 for 4 at lunch, with 3 wickets for Anrich Nortje, who's been superb, the fast bowler for South Africa in their recent tests. And West Indies have a debutant, Jayden Seales, a 19-year-old bowler who's only played one first-class match before.
Well, hasn't Stone done well here? 20 not out, and he's kept Lawrence company. He's on 40. The players have had quite an extended drink there. And Wagner's on his way, dashing in bowls outside the off stump, driven fluently, and beats the diving cover fieldsman, who slaps the ground there in frustration. He thinks he should have stopped that. Instead, it's gone for 4. Nice stroke from Lawrence. He's got a real chance here. He's got the tail around him. That can put a bit of pressure on that number 6 or 7 batsman, but it also means that he can play a few shots.
Yeah, Trent Boult dived over there. He's a fantastic fielder.
Yes.
It's very unlike him to miss it, even was his weaker hand. He was expecting to stop it anyway.
Wagner again, left arm over, bowls, and Lawrence is forward again, driving through the length. And Wagner seizes the ball with his left hand and then gazes in a very hostile fashion at Lawrence. Just turns his back on him. I don't think that sort of thing bothers him too much.
Well, obviously played Essex together. I love these little batters. It's horrible.
Yes.
If you're a batsman, you can't really win it, because even if you hit him for a few fours and he eventually gets you out, as old teammates, he's going to rub it in. But
Yes.
Waggers and the kid, as he's known at Essex, get on really well. So I'm sure even if he did glare at Dan Lawrence,
Slight wink in it as well.
I think a bit more of a smirk. I think.
Okay. Now we've got the question here: the ball going through the umpire's rings, and I'm not sure. So I think we may have to have a spare one. It seems a bit of a waste of time, because the ball will be changed soon anyway with the new one. But umpire Kettleborough there has got his measuring rings out, and so the ball goes through one and not through the other. And you can see there the ball firmly wedged. It's done a good job for New Zealand, this particular ball, mind you. I'm a bit surprised they want to get rid of it.
Well, I think it stopped swinging, doesn't it? I bet that ball didn't go through after 40 overs. But because it was swinging and because they felt in the game, it's absolutely fine. The last, 10 overs or so, not much has happened. So I don't actually know the rules. I know in county cricket you get 2 free goes at it, don't you? You get 2 goes at.
Is that how it works?
And if it doesn't go, if it doesn't go through, you keep it. But if it does go through, you get 2 attempts. And once you've had it, then you're stuck.
That's
so,
it, yeah.
But I don't know the rules in Test cricket anymore. Whether it is the same as that.
There's no limit in Test cricket, I'm sure. Anyway, they've had a change, so they've got another ball here. And look at that. See, I mean, New Zealand, they really have shone the ball. At Lords, it was incredible. It was going round. It was Kane Williamson there who did most of the shining and polishing and sweat on it and so on. He's not playing today, of course. But immediately there it was Darren Mitchell who started to really work on this one. Let's see if it swings. Wagner's on his way, and he bowls, and it goes straight as a gun barrel, and is driven out to mid-on by Lawrence. And Mitchell fields, but again he's putting sweat on it and everything he can, and rubbing it hard on the back of the trousers.
Even you might have swung it with all this effort on the.
Do you think?
What?
It felt like a swinging day today.
It did this morning, didn't it? And after lunch. I'm pretty sure this pitch is a good wicket.
Yeah.
It's just the overheads have made it swing, and that's why it's such a brilliant game, because so many variables.
Wagner again bowls. Oh, an inside edge there into pad, and then the ball runs down into gully, and there's no run. Now he's calling the point fieldsman up. They got 2 balls to go, maybe. Let's have a look. Yeah, 2 in the over left, so they'll try and keep Stone on strike. But he's done a good job so far. He's just really hung in there and given Lawrence really excellent support. See, as I would say when we're playing, if you get the chance to bat at number 8,
you bat like a number.
You bat like a number 8. You dump me down at number 11, and I'll bat like an 11.
That's similar about the old pinch hitter, isn't it, in the old one-day game?
Yes. Here goes Wagner, left arm over, bowls. Oh, what a sumptuous drive that is. One of the shots of the day. It was a half volley, off stumpish, but Lawrence has absolutely put that away so easily. And he might tell Wagner all about that a bit later, I think.
Yeah, there hasn't been, as I was saying a bit earlier, there hasn't been many balls which have been timed today, have they, like that? Now, that was and Rory Burns played that cover drive of Wagner and that one as well. Whether the pitch is a little bit slow to time like that, but that's a cracking shot, wasn't it? Absolutely.
Beautiful. Perfect shot, because he's quite a quirky batsman, but everything was right about that. Wagner on the way, bowls him again. Again, it's a fullish length, but not quite as full as a previous ball, so it's picked up at mid-off instead, and there's no run. 222 for 6, Stone 20. And Lawrence on 48. 15 overs remain to be bowled today. There'll be a new ball to be taken soon enough, so it'll tick round to the usual sort of 6:30, I would imagine, in which play will end today. Crowd a bit quieter, I think, probably having a bit of a rest, because they're not match fit. And they've been going all day, so they need a bit of a breather, I think.
Dan Lawrence, in his first-class career, averages 35 against pace, 58 against spin. Crickviz have put up an interesting thing from their data.
Patel, first of all, though, in the late afternoon sunshine, bowls, and that's turned away by Stone to mid-wicket. There's no run.
Concerning how late Lawrence has played the seam bowlers today, they measure the interception point of batsmen.
Here's Patel again, and there's an appeal for leg before wicket is given out. Swinging across the line, a sweep, and Lawrence has got his back to him there. He's talking to the umpire, who can't give too much away as to why he's given that out, but Richard Illingworth gave it out quite quickly. I suspect they'll review it, they might as well. There's 2 left, but he has been given out. In fact, 3 left England, they haven't used any so far.
TV umpire to director, we have a play review for LBW. On-field decision is out. It's a fair delivery. Can we have front on spin vision, please?
They've been playing well up to now as well. Just having a look, I suppose where it pitched is sort of one question.
Nothing conclusive from there, Mark. Can we have Ultra Edge one available, please?
I think it could be umpire's call on leg stump, couldn't it?
Yeah, rolling all the way through, please, to the pad, all the way through.
I'm pretty sure he's not nicked it.
Okay, flat line, keep going past the glove, all the way through, keep going all the way through to the pad, please. Okay, no bat or glove involved, so ball tracking when available, please.
I thought he might have clipped his front pad and then made it look a bit straighter. Do you know what I mean? As it clips his pad, it then goes a bit straighter for the umpire.
He's
missed his front pad.
It's hit him, as we say, amidships.
I mean, they paused it perfectly there, haven't they?
Ball tracking coming up.
Here's
now.
the tracking. How many reds? That's the question. Oh, that's the one for me.
Pitching in line, impact in line. And it's hitting the wickets, Richard. So say it with your original decision of out. I'll let you know when you're on screen, Richard.
3 reds,
you're on
good
screen
decision.
now, Richard. Signal now.
And Ollie Stone's vigil is over. He played well, 20, but more than that, he actually survived 51 balls. And so he's given some good support there to Dan Lawrence, and useful runs were added. But again, by just chipping away and not releasing the pressure, New Zealand haven't let the game slip at all. 222 for 7.
He played really nice, actually. Just the first time he probably looked for runs, didn't he? He's just waiting, accumulated in that partnership with Dan Lawrence, but tried to put a bit of pressure back on the spinner. Maybe he was thinking with the new ball only 4 overs away, try and catch a few. He played across the line, and whatever it is with an umpire, when they see a person playing across the line, they're more inclined to give it out. It was out. It was the right decision.
Former left arm spinner.
Absolutely, forgot about that.
Don't like the sweep shot, do they? All left arm spinners I know reckon they've been robbed of hundreds of wickets over the years. There's a lovely umpire called Sam Cook who'd have been before your time. But as soon as anybody's swept, hit the pad, bang, gone. Can't sweep, that's out.
That was what was so strange, wasn't it, before DRS? If you played a sweep on the front foot, you're out. But if you played a defensive shot on the front foot, you weren't out.
Absolutely.
Can't possibly give that out.
No. But yes, across the line, you're gone. So Mark Wood has arrived. We thought about him coming in at number 8, but he's coming in at 9. Only Broad and Anderson to come. There's a long discussion there. Lawrence is fully briefing him on what Patel is doing. See some swinging of arms going on at mid-off. The new ball, of course, just round the corner. 222 for 7. Wood's first ball is a slip and a short leg. Patel strolls in and bowls to him, and there's a howl there, inside edge to pad maybe, but they didn't see the appeal through. 222 for 7. And he fancied himself as a batsman as well, Mark Wood. He'll want to get a few here. Patel again tosses this up to him. Forward he comes. Trickles away out to cover. A bit more noise over to our right now again. As if they've had a bit of a siesta. Wood again on the front foot.
And if Jimmy does get out there tonight, the reception he's going to get is going to be absolutely brilliant.
Well, I think he probably will, don't you? 15 overs to go. I mean, even batting. This is shorter. On the back foot he goes, and Wood's off the mark. Cutting firmly out to deep point. Doesn't mean that there's only one ball left for... Oh, no, that's the last ball. He has actually taken the strike. Although the screen a bit slow there. Anyway, 223 for 7. Wood 1. Lawrence on 48. And again, he's briefing Wood very fully here. And Wood's already got his gloves off. I mean, Wood's not short of a word or two. Well, quite a good contest, these two together, I think.
Well, how long's this spell from Waggers? There must be a few. I'm going to go. Is it an 8-over spell?
This will be the 7th over.
He's unrelenting, isn't he?
Yep.
He's bowling with an 80. This obviously might not be an 76 over ball because they swapped it, but you must look at this ball and think, why am I doing the donkey with? But he does it every single week. They've got Mitchell who just bowls. He could be bowling this end with 3 or 4 overs before the new ball, but trying to get the ball out of Waggers' hand.
We're going into sniffing the leather mode, I think. Here's a short leg gone in, and there's a leg slip. And there's a man going out to deep square leg, so I think Wood wanted to brace himself for a bit of chin music here, or at least certainly the impression given that he's going to. There's 2 slips and a gully. Wagner's on his way, 223 for 7. Wood on strike. In he goes, left arm over, bowls short, fended off into the offside. Played it pretty well, but this is what Wagner's going to do here now. And Stuart Broad will be sitting in the pavilion below us, relishing this. It's difficult for a tail ender to play this, It's difficult for with his record batsman doing it, but when you're 9, 10, 11, you've got the short leg there, leg slip.
The only thing is Mark Wood can give it back.
Oh yes. 223 for 7. Wood's waiting. Wagger's on his way. Bowls another short ball and he's pulled this through mid-wicket. Chase there for Patel. No, he can't stop it. And he's beetling across the outfield out towards the Hollies stand. And they take 2 runs, so Wood goes to 3.
I thought he might take it on. He was having, I don't know if he was just bluffing, but he was the ball before there, in between balls. He was looking at that field, thinking, "Well, I haven't got a man out. Is it an acceptable shot?" I think it is actually for Mark Wood to play it.
Yes.
I wonder whether
the one who does it really well is Broad. Actually, he's got a terrific pull shot, but he knows it's coming.
I wonder whether they don't need the second slip and they can have another catcher in there.
Wagner again runs in, bowls Fuller, and Wood very patiently allows that to go through outside the off stump. Sometimes a low order batsman's eyes light up a bit. You've got the short stuff winging around.
I thought I was going to say why do they need a second slip, and then he bowled a full one. Mark would have whooshed it straight to second slip.
Yeah, that's what they're hoping for, isn't it? 225 for 7, heading towards the new ball. 14 overs remain, 13 after this one. Fascinating day's play. With England, you always feel it's rather on the back foot throughout, although they won the toss and batted first. New Zealand have just had this bit of a stranglehold all day. Even in the first session when England didn't lose a wicket, they only scored 67. Then goes Wagner again and bowls that Fuller length. Wood is forward.
But if they'd have got through that that half an hour after lunch, suddenly, through Bolts and Henry's second or third spell, it would have felt like a long day for New Zealand, wouldn't it? They wouldn't have had this intensity, and that's what that half an hour was so crucial for the day, because it put England back on the back foot. But if England had, I know it's obvious, but it managed to get through there, then they'd think, oh God, we could be in the field for a huge amount of time. And I think actually New Zealand probably got the rewards for how well they bowled in the morning session without a bit of luck. And quite a few player misses were on there with the ball swung past Sibley and Burns' outside edge.
Wood on strike. Wagner's on his way. Bowls. Short one. He's taking it on once more. I play that very well along the ground. Out to Patel. Deep square leg. Another one to Wood, who goes to 4. 226 for 7. He's now telling Trent Boult all about it at mid-off. Meanwhile, Carl Jameson's been signed up by Surrey to play in the Blast.
Sign everyone, don't they? Sorry.
His first game against Middlesex, a big game.
Tonight? Is he playing tonight? Aren't they playing tonight?
June 25th. And he's going to play in a couple of games of the Championship as well. So, good signing. Interesting cricketer. 2:26 for 7. Wagner waits. Lawrence is on 48. Wagner's on his way. Bowls full to him. He turns that away out to mid-wicket, slightly across the line, but perfectly under control. And that's the end of that over. 2:26 for 7. The new ball almost in sight. With 77 overs having been bowled now. A few more stewards appearing down there in front of the Hollies stand now. Although it certainly appears to be a very good-natured gathering there. Some of the old favourites, the songs that we haven't heard for a couple of years, have had a good airing today.
Just to conclude what I was saying about Lawrence before that wicket fell, he's essentially played the ball later than any other England batsman against the seamers today.
Yes, interaction point.
Interception point.
Yes. Right.
So, and Alistair, he's had problems against seamers in county cricket. Is there anything that you think he's changed in his technique over the years?
Not really. He messes around a little bit with his trigger movements, actually. So
Here comes Patel, and Wood plays to mid-wicket.
Yeah, so he used to trigger big and actually a bit inconsistent with his trigger, and used to drag his front foot across into the channel a bit, and became a bit susceptible to the ball coming back in. So he stopped triggering.
Again. Sorry, played back to him.
He stopped triggering mid-season last year. First innings got 100, and then as he went and said he played against India without the trigger.
It's a whole new language, isn't it? I mean, I just think, Andy, what our batting might have been like. Here's Wood playing into the legs. If we'd known what a trigger movement was, it'd have been a whole new game.
Well,
Tuffers would have been extraordinary.
You did trigger. You just triggered to square leg. Oh no, Aggers, I've got to go.
Well,
I'm not having any revenge.
It's so good to have you back. 2:26 for 7. Here's Patel again. Bowls much flatter ball outside the off stump, scythed away just over point. He's got away with this, and they'll come back for 2. Out towards the boundary it goes on the right hand side of the ground. Thank goodness Michael Vaughan's coming back. He's kindly to these chirpy youngsters who we allow into the commentary box every now and then. They take liberties, Michael, don't they? This is the take liberties.
What's happening, Aggers? You getting picked on?
Yes.
Never mind.
2:28 for 7. Here comes Patel round the wicket, bowls. Wood comfortably forward, plays out to cover. 1 ball to go in the over. Wood really should just block this and allow Lawrence to have the strike, and there you go. That was dead bat. Played for short leg, and that's the end of the over. I'll tell you what, Latham's done well here. He's played the captaincy card and he's got himself out of short leg. He's normally in there.
There's a strange mix on the Hollies stand I've just seen.
A lot of masks on.
Yeah, there was Piers Morgan sat next to Meghan Markle.
Oh, that'd be good.
Yeah.
That'd be quite a lively
Prince
conversation.
Harry and Prince William, they were together.
I saw Boris Johnson in there.
Yeah, Boris was... he generally comes to the cricket, doesn't
I didn't see Meghan and Piers.
Yeah, Meghan and Piers are sat next to each other.
They're very clever, those masks. They somehow look incredibly lifelike, don't they? I don't know how they do it.
Did you actually think they were there?
Well, no, not quite. But they do. They're very clever.
Yeah.
They're really clever. They still come alive. Now, a change of ends for Mitchell. 2:28 for 7. We've got 2 overs to go until the new ball is taken. And that might swing around a bit.
There seems to be a lot of hot air coming up from the floor.
Well, we're trying to pump it out.
It's coming back in.
2:28 for 7. In goes Mitchell, and then he bowls on the off stump, driven down to mid-on. I don't think I've ever commentated with a big hose between my legs before, but there is one here from the air conditioning unit. It's pumping it down into the floor. It's all coming up. It's coming up randomly around the commentary box. 2:28 for 7. He's doing all sorts of strange things to Andy's hair by the look of it as well. It's blowing around all over the place.
Well, if you could pass your hose over here and put it in this hole, I could
my
do
feet are getting very hot. 2:28 for 7. In goes Mitchell over the wicket. Bowls, driven. He's getting bottom hand there. I think if he just played an orthodox shot there, I think he'd have got some runs through the covers.
He's played well, hasn't he, Dan Lawrence? I thought he had a scratchy start, nervy start. Didn't look like he was there any kind of confidence, particularly against Bolt early. And he found his rhythm. He's looked in good touch over the last hour or so. Played 2 glorious drives down the ground.
228 for 7. And then goes Mitchell again. Over the wicket he goes. Bowls with a low arm, but a slinging one this. And Lawrence chops him away down to deep backward point. And they take a single. Into the 79th over we are. New ball due after 80, of course.
Well, the Kiwis will be absolutely delighted, won't they, with their day's work?
Yeah.
7 wickets.
They've always just kept in control, haven't they? Even when they weren't taking wickets, they've just... Run scoring's been difficult.
Day 2 generally is the best day to bat here at Edgbaston. There's been enough there. You know, I think there's been enough there that you've known as a batter, if you go chasing it, there's a chance you were going to get out. But if you're willing to play the ball late and wait for that right delivery, one right under your nose, you had a chance. But if you went kind of with your hands at the ball, there's been some iffy shots from the England team.
Mitchell bowls short down the leg side and well stopped by Blundell, the keeper. Stewards on the move in the Hollies stand. A few day-glowed tabards I see going in there. But, I think it seems pretty good nature. They're going up. Well, they're sort of spreading out. I think some going up.
Not fancy dress, are they?
Some coming down. Well, they could be. I mean, you could really put the cat among the pigeons if you came as a steward in fancy dress, couldn't you? 229 for 7. Mitchell again scuttles in from our end, bowls outside the off stump. Wood's not interested. Through it goes to the keeper. It's pretty deafening in there. I mean, it's loud in our headphones.
I saw Gareth Southgate. He was there earlier, just getting a bit of the cricket before the Euro starts Sunday.
I thought he might have been busy.
Yeah, 2 o'clock England. Just running around with his waistcoat on and a St George flag.
Excellent. Here's the last ball of the over. 229 for 7. Mitchell bowls it with a big grunt, and Wood with plenty of time just taps that away into the leg side, and it's the end of the over. So new ball is almost upon us. Michael Vaughan, some thoughts from you, and then Dan Norcross will come in here.
Yeah, 1 over to go before that second new ball. Pretty sure New Zealand will take it. Matt Henry's not had a spell for quite a while. Trent Bolt, he'll roll a few with it. Yeah, you can see Henry just loosening up, just marking his run at the far end. He'll be ready to go. Patel's bowled nicely, 2 wickets for the left arm spinner. The key one, Ollie Pope, he was looking pretty good, Ollie Pope, when the spinner came on. He just tried to cut a ball that just wasn't quite there for him to cut. And he's just got Ollie Stone, a clever captaincy. They brought all the field up to Ollie Stone and forced him into the sweep shot. Richard Illingworth, the left arm spinner himself, he was going to give that out. It was out anyway.
So 1 over to go before a new ball becomes available, and Patel is bowling it to Lawrence, who's on 49. Lawrence drives, thinks of a single. He's going to get the single. That's a half century, as you can tell. The Hollies stands as one, arms above their heads, raucous cheers. It's the only thing that can stop the chanting at the moment. It's a half century. Lawrence waves his bat to all parts of the ground, and this is only for a 50. This is how much crowds have been starved of cricket. 230 for 7. Patel's into Wood now, and Wood lets this gently spinning ball go into the gloves of Blundell. It's difficult to get you in, Andy, during this over, because Patel is very virtuously getting through his overs very quickly indeed. He's in now, and Wood defends on the front foot, pushes out to short extra cover, and the ball's given straight back to Patel. He's got no kind of run up to speak of. Now that's short extra's come into silly bit off, very close, only a foot or so away from the cut strip. Patel is in. Forward comes Wood off the inside half of the bat this time, and then it runs into the onside where Young, whose short leg fields, Young without a helmet, he's just wearing both. They've both got caps on, I think. As the close fielders, next delivery pushed into the offside, picked up by Latham and hands it straight back to Patel. I wish I put the clock on this over. This one might take about a minute and a half. And he's in. Wood. Yeah, now gets struck on the pad, but it's going down the leg side. That is the end of the over, and a new ball is now available. I wait to see where it's. Has it maybe already been taken out there? Has it already gone out there? More live cricket this evening with commentary of the London Derby from 7 p.m. I should definitely be tuning into that. And a reminder that we have our TMS quiz tomorrow at tea. Silly Pointless. So if you'd like to represent your club, your village, your school side, whatever it may be, email us, tms@bbc.co.uk. We kicked it off last week with our inaugural edition between Eddie and Tim. Tim won of Newton Tracy Cricket Club in Devon. Can you do better than him? It was 3-1 was the score in the end, Michael. So
do you know the contestants tomorrow? Do you know who?
I don't know yet.
On the hockey?
These things are all kept secret from me, but we will have them. And if you would like to be among those being considered, get in touch with us. Get in touch with us quickly. It'll be at tea time tomorrow, where some not entirely fiendish questions, and perhaps the odd fiendish question will be hurled in your direction. Together with possibly a tiebreaker. We haven't had a tiebreaker yet. I don't know if we've got special music for a tiebreaker. I think we need it. It's in a really menacing mastermind style. So a new ball has been taken, and it's no great surprise to discover that Trent Boult has got it in his hand. With 10 overs remaining in the day, and New Zealand wrapping up this tail, Michael Vaughan.
Yeah, well, they've got a great chance. 10 overs of this second new ball. Stuart Broad, Jimmy Anderson to come. New Zealand could end up having the perfect first day. Bowl England out inside the 90. Don't have to bat. Come back tomorrow and have a bat.
Basically, yes. Here is Boult with this new ball, and he wraps it on the pad. Big appeal, points at the umpire, not out, too high. It bounced off the knee roller, went up in the air, which is often a fairly good indicator that the ball's just a little too high. Yes, if you're trying to work out the perfect first day, it would be to bowl. I mean, in this situation, to bowl them out in 87.1 overs, wouldn't it?
Yeah. Well, you know, if you want the perfect day, you bowl a team out for 100 and then you bat half the day. But if you're going to have to bat 10 overs, it's always messy. So this is the perfect scenario.
Boult in, and watchful is Lawrence as that ball just bounces a little bit. It's a new ball, so it will do just a little bit more pop off the surface, and he watched it carefully off the back foot. There's no run.
Yeah, and I think England, if they're honest with themselves, that they'll look at today. He's done a little bit, but you just look at the dismissals. Look at Rory Burns, big drive. Zach Crawley just looks all at sea. At the minute, it looks like he just lost his confidence. What to do? Does he go out and attack? Does he go out and defend? Joe Root just prodding at a ball that's just on the channel.
Here is Boult. And it's on the pads of Lawrence, and pushes it up to mid-on.
And you got Ollie Pope. Yeah, that was a really poor stroke. Here's the left arm spinner. Then you've got James Bracey, first ball, just panicked, and he plays a big drive. So you'd say 5 of the top 6 dismissals really were. Joe Root, half a kind of, well, you can't really say that was a bad shot. So let's say 4 of the first 6 were really poor cricket strokes.
Boult in, worked into the onside by Lawrence. He'll get at least one. He'll get a couple actually as Wagner pursues it towards the deep mid-wicket or wide long on boundary. He slides, cuts off, throws, and they've come back for another 3. We're going to ask Andy about the number of 3s today. 233 for 7 with that. Lawrence moves to 53. There appear to be an inordinate number of 3s. We've got a slow outfield today.
They stand they're like Neil Wagner.
They do, don't they?
Yeah, they like it.
They're big fans.
Yeah, well, they've sung about many players today, but they've certainly been singing for Wagner.
Well, he was popular at Lord's, wasn't he?
Yeah.
Wherever he went. Whichever side of the ground he went. But there are only 7,000 at Lord's, about 17,000 we think here today.
Now Mark Wood's got to just get those pads out of the way. Trent Boult's going to try and fizz one back into the pads.
He's got a slightly open stance for the left armour coming over the wicket. And Wood edges and bounces just in front of third slip. They scamper through for a single, which I don't know how wise a move that is with 2 balls remaining in the over and now just the 1. But I suppose England just want every run they can get their hands on. The day began so well, not losing a wicket in the first session, 67 without loss, and then a wicket at the end of the first over and a wicket at the end of the second over after lunch changed the entire complexion. Then when Root was out, England's frailties were further exposed. Rory Burns batted splendid. He batted better today, I'd say, than he did in his 100 at Lord's, but He was induced into a loose shot from Trent Boult. And Lawrence gets up on his toes, defends the last ball of the over into the onside. That is the end of the over. 234 for 7. Wood 7. Lawrence 53. And in a way, so Rory Burns looked more disappointed today to get out for a well-played 81 than a scratchy 81, because he was just in command of his game.
Yeah, he looked
wasn't
in control. I can't remember him playing and missing today. Maybe early he had one drive from Matt Henry, but no, he looked in full control. I think that's probably a lesson to all batters on an Edgbaston surface, that you're never quite fully in. So you can't just go, driving on length. There's always just a subtle amount of movement there, so you've got to stay honest.
Bit of credit also to Boult, though, didn't you think? Because it was just slightly slower. The ball was able to swing that little bit more.
Yeah, it was,
and it just beat the half bat, didn't it, to get the edge?
And then that first ball to James Brace was just a yard fuller. Just said, go on, there's a little carrot dangle. You've not got a test run yet.
That was mean, wasn't it?
Yeah.
I really did feel for Brace. It was a horrible thing to watch, actually. There's genuine despair to get out that way. First ball, Henry, his first ball with the second new ball is full and dug out by Wood, who's on strike because England took a single off the fifth ball of the over for reasons that don't make enormous sense. Andy Zaltzman.
I didn't give Lawrence his figures for his half century. 75 balls at 8 fours, his third half century in just his 7th test.
Thank you. It's been absolutely vital for England. You'd think without it they could have been bundled for under 200. The way New Zealand came at them in that afternoon session. Here's Henry. It's worked off the pads into the onside. Stifled appeal, but there's no run as Young picks up. Yep, the Hollies have been in fine voice all day. They started singing Don't Take Me Home about 20 minutes after lunch.
Yeah. Well, I think Gareth Southgate's just made his second appearance on the Hollies stand. He's just kind of strolling through with with his waistcoat on. Afternoon away from St George's Park.
Henry into Wood, who gets turned around by this full ball and sort of shovels it really up to mid-off, where Conway does the fielding. There's no run, there's 3 slips, there's a gully point, this mid-off come extra cover, there's a wideish mid-on, man just in front of square, Young on the leg side, 4 or 5 yards, and then quite a wide long leg down below us. Pigeon flaps its wings and Henry comes charging in. It's worked again off the pad by Wood, straight to Young. So Henry's targeting the pad too. He's targeting middle and leg, seems to me.
Yeah, you get a feel with Mark Wood. If it's just outside off stump on a decent length, he'll have a big drive at it. And he could play a glorious cover drive, but if I was one of those 3 slips in a fineish gully, I think I would be getting my hands nice and warm ready.
Yeah, and let's see if they scamper a single now. It's 5th ball of the over as Henry is in. Oh, he's beaten on the outside edge. A lovely ball. Too good for Wood. It's back of a length again, turned him right round and fizzed through into the gloves of Blundell. So last ball of the over. Lawrence not playing a lone hand. He's had a bit of support, hasn't he, from Stone. How many balls did Stone face in? 52. And I can't read the scoreboard from here. My eyes are a bit mangled. Is it 29?
29 Wood has faced.
Thank you. 29 balls. Henry's in to complete the over, and it's worked nicely, firmly and solidly up to mid-on, where Wagner fields. That is the end of the over. 234 for 7. 8 overs remain in the day. Wood has 7. Lawrence has 53. The time 5:52. Michael, we're going to get all of our allotment of overs, as well as having had 7 wickets, at least.
Mark Wood, he's decided he needs to take his short sleeve sweater off. He's thinking about the long haul here. Is Mark Wood?
Yeah.
He's in.
That's the most dangerous time, isn't it, for a number 9 when they're in?
Who's that? That's just taking that off him. Which one of England's subs is that?
Jack Leach.
Jack Leach. There you go.
Yeah.
Jack Leach. You'll be looking at Patel getting 2 for. He's seen a couple go past the outside edge.
Well, he can't get into this side when they don't have an all-rounder.
Well, he can if they pick a team with 3 seamers and 1 spinner.
Yeah, true. True. Or 1 fewer batter. Boult starts a new over. Lawrence defends. His wide open stance pushes the ball back up the wicket, and there's no run. I mean, the way England's batters have been going, you might argue that they might as well have another bowling option.
I just can't feel that it's right that you've got dry conditions forecast is for it to get warmer and warmer. We know here at Edgbaston that pit spin has played a part in the past 2 years ago. Nathan Lyon.
Well, Root's got some footmarks to work with, the off-spinner, hasn't he? Outside the left-hander's off-stump. Bolt in once more, worked away nicely by Lawrence, dangerously as he moved across his stumps, but that's the way he plays, and he gets it down to long leg, and they come through for the single. Wood will not be being protected. 4 balls remain in the over, and Lawrence goes to 54, 235 for 7. Have you found out how many threes there have been today, Andy?
10, I think.
That feels like a lot of threes.
It's quite a lot.
Is it? Can you quantify quite a lot? Can you put it for me in the sort of...
More than average, but it's not outlandishly a lot.
Is that right?
Yeah, I'll put it like that.
In England, on the first day of a test match?
Yes.
Bolt is in, and Wood flirts with a ball that goes across his bows and misses it into the gloves of the keeper. I suppose, it's a fairly large playing area, isn't it, Michael? But the outfield just hasn't felt quite as quick. Maybe they're not timing it as well.
So at Lord's last week, the boundary was brought in quite a lot.
It was, wasn't it?
And there was 6,500 in the crowd. I thought it was some kind of reason. Yeah, we've got quite a few, and it seems to have been pushed out even further. I prefer this to what we had at Lord's, but
I agree. Bolt in, and Wood, I don't know if he's beaten really. Might give him the credit for taking his bat inside the line, or at least he played the line and the ball went way past his outside edge. It was shorter. 2 balls remain in the over for him to survive.
Well, the fact that Ollie Stone went out there and played with relative comfort, and the fact that Mark Wood's out there, the ball's beaten the outside edge a couple of times. We've been out there 32 deliveries. If I was a New Zealand batter, I'd be thinking, there's some runs out there.
Well, the sun's out now as well, and we haven't seen this new ball really swing yet. Tomorrow we're expecting a bit more cloud cover to be a bit more like the first couple of sessions today, but at the moment it's glorious out there as Bolt is in. That swings back into the pads in imploring appeal, but the ball was going, I would say, well down the leg side, and after that imploring appeal, Bolt just turns on his heels, goes back to his mark. Yes, Stone, in fairness, was batting against the old ball, wasn't he, for most of it? But he did look pretty comfortable.
Yeah, but so quite a few of the other players.
Well, while they were batting, they did. Your point is absolutely the right one. They found ways of getting themselves out. Now, Ajaz Patel is going back out to deep backward square to offer the single. Will this be a bouncer? We'll see. No, it's full and wide of the off stump. Shouldering arms is Wood. Through to the keeper. 235 for 7. Wood 7. Lawrence 54. Commentary continues on 5 Live Sports Extra, digital radio, online and via the BBC Sounds app. But Radio 4 Longwave are leaving us briefly for the shipping forecast.
Further to your query about how unusual it is to have had 10 threes by this stage of the innings. Look at the first 80 overs of first innings in tests.
Thank you. That's what I wanted.
There were 9 today by the end of the 80th over. You would have expected, based on the number of balls per 3 over the last 20 years of cricket in England, in first innings of tests in this country, you'd have expected there to have been 6 by the end of the 80th over. So that's 3 more than normal.
Well, it's 50% more than normal.
I don't think it was worth me wasting my time on that, Daniel.
Well, I think we'll be the judge of that. There's 50% more threes. That's unusual-ish. What is the most number of threes? You're not going to do that for me. 2 slips and a gully, sun shining brightly. Henry running in from the city end to Lawrence, who lets this go outside the off stump. Had a brief flirtation with it and then thought better of it.
There's a group of middle-aged gentlemen that have made their way to the bottom of the Holly stand, and they're now taking their shirts off and they're swinging their shirts around their heads, singing the anthem, the football anthem. And he's dancing up and down. He must be. I'm guessing he's got to be over 50.
Yeah, I can see roughly where you mean, but I can't. I'm not going to hazard a guess as to their age from this distance. They've got a slightly different colour out the sunshine as well, I think, as Henry is in, and that's worked into the onside by Lawrence, who's happy just to take the single. They're not looking for a second, and exposes Wood again to the strike. 236 for 7. Lawrence 55.
The most threes by the 80 over mark of a test in England in the database, which goes back about 20 years, is 13, Dan.
13?
Yes. There have been 3 such occasions.
And he in 1976?
Doesn't go back that far.
Right. Okay. Are they on large grounds as a general rule? as Henry is in. It's a thick edge and it's bouncing just in front of second slip, and then will run away for a single for Wood, which will bring Lawrence back onto strike. 237 for 7.
One at Lords, Sri Lanka 2014. One at West Indies last year in Manchester. 13 threes by the 80th over. Would you believe? Such a shame there wasn't a crowd in to see that. And 13 against West Indies at Headingley in 2010. But this 9 is 10th equal in the last 20 years in first innings in England.
Well, that's not bad. Henry is into Lawrence, wide of the off stump. Oh, and they're going to buy for this. Blundell's again messed up. He's not had the best of time today. How many buys has he now conceded? It was a pretty regulation take, swinging a little bit away to his right. And he had to move to his right, but it just burst through his gloves and they come through for another run. And every run just feels so precious at this stage. If England could get to 300, they're in the match, aren't they? If they get to 300, they really will be in it.
Yeah, I think so. I think that'll be about... I don't think it's par. I think it's a little bit below par, but yeah, they'll be in the game.
Henry's in and Wood lets us go by. The keeper's gloves. There's no run. I mean, obviously they'll be doing this, just counting this down in blocks, but 20 overs of Stuart Broad can give you 25, 30 runs suddenly out of nowhere.
Oh, yeah, that's... I mean, from where England were when James Bracey was out, I think they've done well today. But, you know, it could have been a lot better when you look back at the first session. You know, we were looking at New Zealand. If one of their players gets 100, they'll get a decent lead, you would think.
Henry's in, and that's defended into the offside by Wood. That completes the over. It means Lawrence will have strike at the start of the next. There are 6 overs remaining in the day's play. Wood has 8. Lawrence has 55. England a rather disappointing 238 for 7. The new board is only 4 overs old, and to take you through the next 20 minutes or so, it's going to be Alison Mitchell.
Yeah, I think Trent Boult, his first day back in Test cricket for a while, he'll be requiring an ice bath or some of those skins on that I see players wear, compression skins. He'll need plenty of action. Massouse will be in full flow, I would think, on Trent Boult, as also on Matt Henry. He hasn't played a great deal of cricket either. New Zealand will be happy with a day's work. They'll want it to finish strong. England, can they get to close 7 wickets down, Ali?
Hi, Michael. Yeah, it's been such a good day for them. Being asked to field by Joe Root. Here is Boult then over the wicket, and forward comes Lawrence, defends back up the pitch. Boult picking up with one hand and no run. He's done so many air miles, hasn't he, Trent Boult? He spent more hours sitting in an aeroplane or sitting in quarantine in a hotel room than he's possibly had bowling coming into this test match. But he did join up with the team at Lords, so we saw him trekking across the ground and going over to the nets on a number of occasions, and then in the lead-up, of course, to this match. But about getting some overs under his belt, and New Zealand still have the World Test Championship final in Southampton to come. 2 slips and the Gurley Boult in back of a length, looking to swing it, almost swing it back onto his stumps, Lawrence. And the ball's dropped safely in the end in front of the wicketkeeper, who jogs forward to pick up. But that could have been the end of him. 55 runs to his name. He's banged in shorter. He's got himself into a tangle, didn't get hold of it. There are also 2 men out on the pull or the hook. And a deep square leg, fraction in front of square. And a wideish fine leg as well. Here's Boult in the evening sunlight with shadows lengthening. Over the wicket, the left arm, to the cross, and beautifully driven by Lawrence. Angled across the right-hander. A wonderful extra cover drive all along the ground. And all the way for 4. Wonderful stroke, warmly welcomed by the crowd. The Bananas have got out of their seats. They've gone for a jog down in front of the Hollies stand. Good evening to you, Jeremy.
Good evening, Ali. Yeah, that was a lovely stroke, wasn't it? I mean, everything just seemed in sync there, and an infallible sympathy with the bowled ball. Out there, hung out there by Boult, looking for a catch perhaps to the slips on the angle, through extra cover.
Lawrence on 59, Bolton again a little tighter on off stump, turned to short mid-wicket this time, tumbling stop, and to save a run. And England looking to use these, well, get through to the close against the new ball, but also to try and, well, as you can add some more runs when the ball is harder and newer. So just see which way the balance tips in this last half hour of the day. Can New Zealand take these final wickets, or can Wood and Lawrence stick together and build a semblance of a partnership to get England through to the close? Bolt runs away. Red soles of his shoes flashing as he runs away from us. A little bit of late shape there into Lawrence. Worked up to mid-on where Wagner is fielding. He picks up in no run.
Looks a good pitch to bat on, doesn't it? I mean, really throughout the day when batsmen have got in, they've been able to get accustomed to the pace of the ball. It seems that the outfield has quickened up throughout the day, and drives that were going for 2 in that first session now are going through to the boundary. Runs come much more quickly. Lawrence looks in much better nick, doesn't he, than when he went out.
He's eased into his innings. Bolt in, bowling full and leg stump, and that's been swung away. That's going to be 4, backward of square on that leg side. It was full from Bolt, and Lawrence quickly onto it, and so runs came quickly in that over. Lawrence is on to 63 now, 246 for 7.
Yes, a scrambled seam just about leg stump, and that's into the strength, I think, of Lawrence. Just fell away slightly, and it was almost a pickup stroke, wasn't it? And backwards square, there was no one there. So that raced away again to the boundary. 2 lovely shots. And, you know, the ball is still doing enough that the New Zealanders might feel they have a chance, particularly with Mark Wood, of claiming another wicket, and then maybe Broad, who gives you a chance. So New Zealand need to finish this day strongly. 246 for 7 says New Zealand, in fact, just slightly ahead, I'd have to say, on balance throughout the day. England have threatened.
Wood on strike, 3 slips and the gully. In goes, oh, there's a shout for LB, but Henry is looking towards the slip cordon now because there's no interest from the umpire. Is there any from his captain? Still looking at each other. No, palms towards the sky, saying, what, shall we?
Well, where was the length? Did he hit it?
Latham's gone for it.
Oh, he has, okay.
Oh,
Thanks,
let's
Richard.
see.
TV umpire to director, we have a player review for LBW. On-field decision is not out. It's a fair delivery. Front on spin vision, please.
I wondered whether it was just outside off, didn't you? I don't know whether you got the impression of that. Or has it nipped back enough? It's got... No, he hasn't really got a big stride in. But I think there's an edge
inside
there.
Edge.
Yeah, just rock and roll that there, please, Mark.
No, it's just very easy to see.
Piece to be some bat before pad. Can we just confirm that with Ultra Edge, please?
I wonder whether Mark Wood intimated that to Henry after the review had gone upstairs, because there was a little exchange between the two of them.
Yeah, roll through. Just take that back another frame, please. And through. Yeah, keep going through. Very slowly. One more frame.
Yeah, batter's close to front pad.
And just take it back again, please.
What I think the third umpire is looking at, has it hit the pad first before the bat? Because they're
clean
almost...
bat involved.
Yeah.
Go back to Richard on field.
Yeah, inside edge
Richard,
into the knee
bat
roll.
involved. Stay with your original decision of not out. I'll let you know when you're on screen.
Well, that evens things up. Oh no, it doesn't take ones off. There was 2 reviews each, so New Zealand have now lost 1. New Zealand have 1 left, England have 2. There's Henry in again, full once more to Wood, gets his bat behind it this time, back up the pitch. And Henry picks up.
Good work, Wood. He's getting well forward, isn't he? When he plays his defensive stroke, there was a good stride in there, and even the ball, you know, there's a good stride in that last one that the appeal, or the review was about. At least the front footers getting forward and the heads over the, you know, that's a nice little defence, really.
Goes Henry. He's playing again, quite correctly, getting himself behind the ball, high front elbow. Ball dribbles into the onside this time, and Wood rehearses the defence. He knows he's got a job to do this evening. Ollie Stone was sent in ahead of him. He's standing there now with the hollies standing good voice, and the sun getting a little lower in the sky, shadows lengthening across the ground, blue sky above with some fluffy white clouds, few with a tinge of grey still. Henry in once more, a little fuller, and bat and pad squirting into the onside, and it brought a few anguished cries from bowler and from the slips, thinking, was that going to get through?
That 3 or 4 sets of hands to heads. It was a little squirty shot on the onside. You wonder if there might be a bat pad in there.
Certainly with Joe Root having won the toss and opted to bat first today, you want your team to bat through the day, don't you?
Well, yeah.
Henry in, let's beat in the bats. Mark Wood drew the hands inside the line, but I fancy once the ball had passed, and goes through to the keeper. Well beaten.
Especially being none down at lunch. You
Yep.
know, you
The
think,
expectation was there.
yes, perhaps 3 or 4 down at the end of the day.
Yeah, that crazy spell. 3.5 overs, just under 4 overs, 3 wickets falling for 13 runs after lunch. And goes Henry again, and solid defence from Wood. It'll drop and run, in fact. He's taking a single into the covers. That's the last ball of the over. He's happy to keep the strike, Mark Wood. 247 for 7. Andy.
He's faced 43 balls now in this innings, so we've seen him bat effectively for England in the past. A few defensive efforts, 29 from 95 in Abu Dhabi way back in 2015, but more often in an aggressive mode. His 1/2 century was a 62 ball score of 52 in the Christchurch Test of March 2018, but not much recently. His last 5 innings, 5-2, 2-1 and 0, and they totaled 43 balls between them for 5 dismissals. So another good effort from an England tailender today.
Yep, fighting innings. 4 overs left in the day. The job to hang in there. I suppose, well, you could say he's protecting Lawrence by taking the strike, but would you have thought that Lawrence would want the strike, just in terms of trying to add to the run tally?
Didn't look troubled last over, did he,
No.
to Bolt?
Here's Bolt then to Mark Wood, who awaits Bolt rushing in full. He's almost yorked him. He got his bat down in time. Wonderful delivery, searing in, honing in on that off stump. Fielded in the covers, and no run.
Well, you can see Mark Wood just falling over to the offside, the heavy head, and just getting a bat down on that as it was zeroing in on the stumps.
It was heat-seeking. Really honing in. Wood staring down the pitch now. Slight openness to his stance, with Bolt coming left arm over the wicket. Wood is stock still. Taps his bat down now. 2 slips in the gully. Bolt in. No, and that's gone through him. Through to the keeper, who's claiming a catch. Yes, the finger's gone up. Mark with those reviewed straight away.
Has it hit the back pad? These are the ones that are very difficult to tell for an umpire. Whether he's actually hit that or not, he feels as though it's hit the back pad,
We have a
perhaps,
review
or the
behind.
thigh
On-field
pad.
decision is out.
And often when
It's
it's
a fair delivery.
a batsman who goes
We look at
quickly,
front on spin vision,
you think,
please.
well, they know.
Yeah, you do. Certainly it looked like an edge from up here, didn't it? But is it going to beat the bat? Yes, it does.
Can we have a look at Ultra Edge,
Flap
please?
of the pad.
Matt?
I think that's beaten the edge, doesn't it? It looks like the flap.
Ultra Edge will tell
Yeah,
us.
just keep rolling through. Keep rolling through to the pad. It's clearly pad. I'm going to check the LBW as well, Mark. So can we go back to
Looks a
as
wee
a
bit
not
high
out,
with
please?
the foot just off the
As a
ground,
default for
maybe.
this one, please.
Wood's not a tall man, but it looks as though he's adding an inch to his height there.
Yes, I am, Richard. I am.
Well, New Zealand get a second bite of the cherry, don't
Yes,
they?
they do. Yes, they do.
And this, I suppose, is the benefit of the
So
system.
this has got to go back
using the
to not
technology.
out as the original decision, please, Mark.
Okay, so
Okay, coming through now. Pitch it in
Whoa.
line, impact in line,
is it hitting? Over
and
the
it's
top.
missing the wickets.
Just missing.
So
The
I'll
new
get you to
ball
overturn your
saves him.
decision, Richard. I'll let you know when you're on screen. You're on screen now, Richard. Signal now.
And they weren't appealing for the LBW, so it's kind of right.
Yeah, it's always interesting, isn't it? Because the signal that comes from the umpire was for a catch appeal,
I think it
but then
was.
that signal presumably still stands as the soft dismissal for the LBW, even though that wasn't what the umpire was judging at the
No,
time.
that's right.
A curiosity. of
It
the
is
system.
it is a curiosity.
But Wood survives. And Bolt is rushing in again. Leap at the crease, bowling full once more. Little push, drive down the ground, and he's actually going to get one hit. Wasn't able to be cut off cleanly. And Conway didn't pick it up. So they've gone through for the one, and Lawrence then will face up to Bolt. And we're into the 87th over of the day. So only a few overs left.
We might actually get through 90 overs today.
It'll be the first time, won't it?
It will be in the series.
Well,
How
good-
many overs did Patel bowl? That will be probably the key to getting through.
14.
Yeah.
Bolt into Lawrence. Around the wicket, he's defending, coming forward, covering that off stump. Bolt picks up in his follow through. Well, it's good value for the crowd, isn't it? They've
Yeah.
come. It's been a busy crowd. I mean, it's not allowed to be full capacity, but we have a final crowd number, but 17,500 were allowed in, able to be in.
Well, the Hollies stand. In fact, a lot of the ground is bathed in lovely sunshine at the moment. That must be pleasant out there.
Bolt racing in again, going with the angle. Lawrence looking to turn to mid-wicket, but picks out the fielder and no run. Yes, to get 90 overs in a day. It's a red letter day in Test cricket. I mean, you put it in footballing terms, saying, can you imagine if every game of the Euros was the whistle blew 10 minutes before the end on a regular basis? There would be absolute uproar. But today, we've got through them. A full day's play for thousands of people who waited a long time to watch a day of Test cricket at Edgbaston. Bolton, short ball, ducking underneath it. Lawrence allows the ball to travel over his bent back through to the keeper to end the over. 248 for 7. Wood on 10, Lawrence on 63. Just looking to see off this new ball period. And Lawrence in particular hoping to be able to resume tomorrow. And build an innings. Every run vital for England. And at one point, New Zealand would have been looking, expecting, hoping to bowl England out for sort of 220-230 mark, the way the wickets were falling.
Yeah, 26 runs in this partnership. And the prior one with Stone, 47. So the tail end doing the job.
They are. Here's Henry. And now Wood defending back up the pitch, looking solid enough. That's what he's got to do. But also take a scoring opportunity when it's there, and then allow Lawrence to take scoring opportunities. But also, I mean, New Zealand have held all their catches today very well, haven't they, in the slips?
Accurate catching in the cordon for them, and you never know if Henry can just get it just slightly less straight. He's looking for an LBW and bowled here. Wonder about the nick.
Henry in, Wood getting in behind it once more. High front elbow, back up the pitch and fielded by the bowler in his follow through.
Good workout for the New Zealand bowlers. Henry now into his 21st. I guess what Bolt has bowled, maybe 20, something like that. Anyway, it'd be round about the same.
22.
Yep. So good workout for him. No going out for you tonight, Trent. Get home, get to bed.
Get some rest. Henry bounding in some width, and Wood's on the drive. Didn't quite strike it cleanly, hasn't timed it, and it's a half stop which saves the run. Extra cover by Conway.
It was a good stop, wasn't it? Diving and prevent nasty little bounce.
Yep.
You get to some of the as the summer arrives, you get all those pitches towards the edge of the block, or a square. You probably call it a square here, don't you?
Even though it's
but you get some nasty bounces off those areas.
Yeah, fortunately they're not sort of too dry and abrasive at the moment though, because they can be nasty when you're fielding. A bit of width on offer, but bottom edge chopped into the ground with a rather horizontal bat. It's fielded up at mid-on and no run. Well, prettiest looking shot from Wood, but he's looking to be aggressive and to score if he feels he's got an opportunity.
Yes.
New Zealand might not mind that as well. 3 slips still lurk behind him. In comes Henry. 2 more balls left in this over. Wood facing up, full delivery, and he's got his past the bowler in his follow through this time. The ball's running away towards the sight screen. Wagner with a sliding stop. They'll come back for 2. Wagner making up the ground and making chase from his position at mid-on. And the 250 is up for England. They were 72 without loss. They slumped to 175 for 6. And now 250 runs on the board. So quite a fight back by this lower order, and indeed with the tail. Some resistance. Henry in once more. Full once again to Wood, and he's got it under Wagner this time. And it should be a boundary. There's nobody down on the fence. And the crowd warmly applauding the 4. It ends the over with Wood on 16, Lawrence on 63, And England now, 88 overs having gone in the day, 254 for 7. Jeremy, only a couple of overs left, and Aggers is going to come in to company for those.
Good stroke from Wood. You said just about the pull stroke, and he rehearsed that a couple of times, and then he's got one past to the left of the bowler on the offside, and now to the right of the bowler, just at mid-on. 2 good hits. Very good. And so just Henry trying to bite off a little bit too much, really, with a very full length to complete that over, looking to hit the poles. But Wood was capable of handling that, and Wagner, despairing dive, but just a bit late.
So the new ball hasn't felled anybody yet as far as England are concerned. Wood 16, Lawrence 63. He's on strike. There's 2 overs to go today, and in goes Bolt. Left arm over the wicket, and that was a lovely straight drive from Dan Lawrence. He really has played 3 or 4 really sumptuous drives today, and that was as good as any of them. The ball just swinging into his bat, really. He got a nice stride. Wasn't quite a half volley either.
I know, he's used his height, hasn't he, to stand up and get on top of that ball. And it's really only a check drive, but there was no one there near the sort of the mid-off, and it was straight enough to beat mid-off.
Wonderful stroke. 258 for 7. He's on 67. Bolt again runs in, bowls to him, and he gets shuffling across in front of the stumps and manages to work that little crookedly into the leg side from outside the off stump, and now he's going gardening. He's tapping away there at 1 or 2 imaginary areas on the pitch that he thinks might just have let him down there a bit. And now Bolt, by the look of it, is going to change his attack and come round the wicket. So Mark Wood walks across to take up his position on the other side of the pitch. Still in great voice over there in the Holly stand. The crayons are up, and Bolt, left arm from round the wicket now, bowls, and that swings in, and Lawrence again drives it, but Bolt managed to get a little bit of pace off that, and so Wagner could field at mid-on. 258 for 7. Floodlights still on. They've been that way for much of the day, not all, but most of it. But there are more breaks in the cloud now than there have been. Blue sky is peeking through as the clouds part, drift gently across the ground. Bolt, left arm over the wicket, bowls a bouncer. Lawrence is underneath it, and Bolt there, well, bowled himself off his feet, as you sometimes see these fast bowlers do. In fact, Mark Wood, I suspect, might exchange a word, because he often does it. In fact, they're having a little chat now. Bolt walks past. He hasn't bowled many bouncers.
No, it's usually towards the end of an over when he's looking to keep the batsman on strike. Now they're having a laugh, yeah.
Yes, it's nice. As always, England-New Zealand series are always played in a good spirit, or most of the time anyway. 258 for 7. Bolt again, left arm from round the wicket, bowls, and Lawrence has nothing to do with it. It's still competitive.
Very.
But it's just not done in a sort of an aggressive, hostile, unpleasant sort of a way.
No need to be, really.
Agreed. So last ball of the over, and Bolt will be trying to keep Lawrence down at that end, so maybe another bouncer. 2 slips waiting. In he goes, round the wicket and bowls a slower ball. And Lawrence behind it. Bolt completes his work for the day, and lots of his teammates come running up and say well done. And he has bowled well. He's got better as the day progressed. I've been a bit tired there towards the end, but for a man who's not played Test cricket for a long time, bowled spells of this sort of a length, he's just got a bit better, I think, as the day went on generally.
Yeah, good effort, 23 overs for him. It's not bad for... He's a very fit player, and he does do the work. And I think, as you say, it's more the consistency, and he's starting to threaten with the ball a bit more. It's been very useful, just these overs, with the use with the Duke's ball. So it's been good for him.
Henry to bowl the last over of the day. From the City end, up he comes, and he bowls to Mark Wood, who gets back into line there. So Patel is the fielder at backward point. I think Wood's enjoyed himself, as we know he's a very chirpy customer. Rates his batting very highly, and he's done a good job here, as did Ollie Stone before him as well. 53 balls for his 16 not out. The slips are lined up. As Henry comes in again, a big bound, and he bowls, and Wood again obdurately plays from the crease. Conway fields at mid-off. 258 for 7. Sibley 35, Burns 81, Crawley a duck, Root 4, Pope 19, Brazier first ball duck, and Stone 20. Now those have been dismissed today. And as the crowd continues to sing, Henry comes in from the far end, bowls pitched up on the leg stump. Wood can't put it away. But after lunch, England lost. Andy, I made a note, they lost 3 for 13. They lost 4 for...
The wickets fell at 72, 73 and 85, then 127, 169, 175 and 222.
So they lost 4 for... I can't add it up myself. 4 for... In comes Henry, bowls. And that's played away square into the offside.
So the session as a whole was 4 for 85 between lunch and tea.
Thank you, sir. Very good session for New Zealand. 3 for 13, a little cluster there that fell. 2 balls remain in the day. We'll have our review of the day after that. So wise off that nugget of information from Andy. In comes Henry again, bowls. That's turned once again by Wood straight to square leg. It's just in front of square there. No run. And there's 1 ball remains. So Dan Lawrence will resume tomorrow on 67 not out. Played well too, so it's a lovely shot. It took him a bit of time to get going, it seemed, but it's played very well once he got set. Here's the last ball of the day. Henry comes in and bowls to Wood, who again stubbornly and defiantly gets into line. Ball runs down into the gully, and he will resume tomorrow. 16 not out, and I suspect whoever he bumps into tonight in the hotel will be hearing all about it. The pair touch gloves and walk off, already in conversation. I think it's already telling Dan Lawrence there how well he played. And indeed he did, and the support that he and Stone have given have meant that England, well, they could still kick up to 300 or so. Stuart Broad comes in and plays a few shots as he might. You still feel that they're unlikely to get the sort of total that they'd have imagined they would have scored this morning when Joe Root won the toss. But Lawrence it is who gets the applause from down below us here. Mark Wood respectfully lingering and tapping his helmet with his hand as Lawrence walks off. The umpires have had a long day. They're walking off too with smiles on their faces. Lots of good decisions there made, incidentally, once again. And the standard of umpiring, as you saw last summer, has been excellent. The New Zealanders troop off in the other direction. They'll be pleased with their labours as well today. Having lost the toss, the ball's just done something throughout. Nothing prodigious, but just a little bit here and there. And all sorts of equipment being brought out by the ground staff to put the pitch to bed for the night.